around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest dreams.
So many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So
dreams.
many things I never could see. So many choices falling on to be shaman.
Shaman King. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So
dreams.
many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be shaman?
To be shaman, shaman king. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be shaman.
Shaman king. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be shaman?
To be shaman, shaman king. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be shaman.
Shaman king. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So
dreams.
many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be shaman?
To be shaman, shaman king. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be shaman.
Shaman king. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all revealed beyond your wildest
So many
dreams.
things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be shaman?
To be shaman, shaman king. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be shaman.
Shaman king. Look around you, look beyond. You could make an unbreakable bond. The world around you's not what it seems. It's all
and they ready for this.
And that's the
stuff.
first thing they hear. Good job, Sec.
And are y'all ready?
Why are you trying to make your voice all deep, bro? Who you trying to get over the phone right now?
Nah, y'all know I'm only trying to get one person.
Alright, so what's up, guys? This is, if you're here, welcome to another episode of the Manga Panel. I'm Cynic. We got the boys, Justice.
Yo.
We got Sekatai, aka Sek.
Hey, I'm back.
And Jin, aka Not Your Daddy.
We shall see.
Nah, never, never that, never
Oh
that.
man.
Bro,
Well, if you're
we
here,
missed you. We missed you, Sec. Everybody missed you. We were trying to defend you all last week with like what your reasoning for each one of your likes were,
man, you shocked
but
me with some
like,
of yours. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I
There
could
was a
believe it. I had
first,
to sit down and really. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
first like Spider Isekai making the list as a like really recent entry. Like, I was like, oh, it's that good. I started it because you put it on your list.
Yeah, it really is that
you
good
know,
though.
speaking of that, I did actually start watching, watching and not reading. I do want to be specific. Um, the volleyball one you were telling me about.
Haikyuu.
Ooh, Haikyuu.
Yeah,
Oh my
so I have
god.
started watching that while I draw from time to time. Um, it's still pretty early, so I'm gonna reserve any judgment. Not saying it's bad or anything like that, but I just want to be fair and give it its breath before I give a general, feeling on whether I like it or not. It definitely is interesting to say the least. Especially as someone who never has played volleyball, had any interest in volleyball, so there's a lot of jargon that I'm trying to get used to.
Hmm.
Oh,
But
believe me,
overall,
you'll
like,
hear it all enough.
For real.
I believe it. I mean, they definitely yell it enough. I want to be ace. I want to be ace. I want to be ace. Yada yada yada. Like, yeah.
Before,
That's
Thank you,
pretty
Polar
cool.
Bear Blue. Thank you. Like, we were definitely doing our best to kind of, stick up for your stuff. Not that any of it was bad, but yeah. So it's good to see though that all of us are starting to peek into each other's interests. Because me with Haikyuu and then you with the spider. So what? Like, that's pretty cool.
That is actually really cool. A little bit unexpected, but very cool.
man, you had recommended it to me like twice before. It was just like, oh, it's another isekai. I have a lot of things on the list, and but seeing it in your top 10, I was like, all right, this has to be good. Like, it has to at
Yeah.
least be good if it got like
Oh
this
yeah.
far up in your like. I had to respect it.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, dude, it's good enough that literally, out of the anime apparel I have, I recently bought some basically that have so what I'm a spider on it. It's that good. So, um, definitely. I guess I'll just do that real quick. Like, so what I'm a spider, like, and just for that one real quick, the reason that made it so high on my list, yeah, it's an isekai, but like the way that that world works is just like it is so cool. It's like I would love to live in that world. Like, oh my gosh, man, like it the way that the system works, the way that the powers work, um the way that they gain abilities and just all of the interesting things that can be gotten out of it. It's definitely, I feel like it was a very creative isekai, especially with like, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That one's really, really popular. Um, but for there to be so many isekais out, I do think that it did a really good job of being unique enough, but still, in a lot of ways paying homage to the things that came before it. So I just, and it's kept me hooked, man. Like, I literally, like, every single week, I'm like, I gotta check out the new episode. This is just that good. So,
Man, so in a similar vein, I don't know. I know this is a weeb cast. All right, we cover weeb related media, but I listened to an audiobook by Dr. Alaron Kong that is a series called The Land, and it's a literary RPG, and it uses like RPG mechanics, like a lot of isekai stories do, to give stats and data about characters when they do things. It's really good. It's narrated by Christopher Podell, I want to say is the name. So if you guys like audiobooks, check that one out. I can't recommend it enough. I binged the 7 books when they were all out in 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Okay, that's how I
He
know
said,
it's
"I'm in
pretty
there."
good.
Yeah, like, oh man, it helped because you forget sometimes that the main character's black until he says some stuff.
That's actually
Like
pretty great.
it's definitely like aimed at adults. It is an adult isekai Skyrim type story.
Hmm.
I enjoy it a lot for similar reasons. I haven't tried any other literary RPGs yet, but if they're as good as that one, I need to dive head on into that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out myself. Like now that you said that, because I could use more isekai in my life that are based off of RPGs.
Dude, it's so good, and I play tested a tabletop that's trying to emulate the game. It's really hard to do though, because he gains like the characters gain powers in similar ways. Like you have your predispositions to certain ones, but the more you practice or expose yourself to something, the more you'll be better at doing it in the future. Just like in Skyrim, like you keep clanking on the hammer to do the thing, you're gonna get better at smithing.
You keep smacking the dude with the sword, you're gonna get better at wielding the sword.
Yep.
Or better at smacking a dude.
That too, or taking a hit. You take enough hits and your armor goes up. It's
All right, Jin. I know what you've been doing a lot this week, Jin. But why don't you tell everyone?
Man, I jumped straight into the streaming of my own as far as video games. I've been doing 7 Days to Die, and oh my god, it has been an experience, good and bad, mind you. So, the one thing I think that is like the craziest is trying to figure out how to do everything and make it look good and all this other stuff. Like, if you were on the journey with me, which is perfectly fine that everybody wasn't, but if you had seen like the changes each day, it's freaking wild. So you have me starting off like terrible audio, not because my mic is bad, just because I have echo, so I had to figure that out. Then the next day I had to figure out how to do noise suppression and just all this other stuff.
The stream is constantly evolving.
Literally, and it's gonna evolve again on Monday. And I've actually got a schedule now. Like when I say I just dived headfirst and was like, I'm gonna learn in the heat of battle. That's literally what happened.
Boys, I made it. I just wanted to announce that in the introduction. I just finished chapter 108. Oh man.
My God. You talk it. That was a good stall tactic. I'm gonna give you that hard body. You lucky because I was gonna get you. I was gonna get you, Cynic. Oh.
Listen, man.
But see,
I didn't
the
plan
crazy
on having
thing,
to
dude.
work
We had
today.
a hard time. Like all of us. Like, oh man. And with the streaming too, for me, I had on the first day. I don't know if you guys remember, 7-hour stream, and I was already behind on Shaman King, and somehow yesterday I finished. I was like, you know what? I'm unstoppable. That's it. I'm unstoppable. I can't be. I'm a force of nature. I'm ready to say it.
Jin, the tornado.
All
He's still
right.
not nobody's daddy, though. Just so that you know.
I don't know. I may not be your daddy though, but I'll be a meteor. Just call me Black Materia. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay. I see you. All right. No
Alright.
one can use that black material, just so you know.
All right, Justice, what you been up to, man?
Man, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VI. I've been trying to play through all the Final Fantasy games more or less in order. And 6 is the one I'm on, and it's been fun. I'm not super far in. I just got a kid who just is super wild. Like literally just found him walking around.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Lord. Oh, disclaimer. I have everything against the Final Fantasy VI story. This is for the viewers, of course. I know that you, of course, know that, Justice. But I have everything against Final Fantasy VI, both Terra and Kefka.
I knew you
Don't at
hated
me.
Final Fantasy VI before I played a Final Fantasy game. I want you to know that.
Oh, I didn't know my hatred was so loud.
It's alright, man.
It is. Cynic and I also just finished watching all of Jujutsu Kaisen in the last couple weeks.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to get on that shonen hype train while the train was still kind of moving, but not while it was moving too fast. And
That
it is good.
fair.
I get the hype now.
Yeah,
I
it's
get
good.
it. It is
Oh,
really
yeah.
good, but I was correct in my original statement in saying it's just the new shonen hotness.
So I gotta catch up still. I'm a little behind on it. I'm probably only an episode 2 behind the dub. Granted, that's farther behind the sub. I will admit that, but I'm only probably a couple episodes behind where the dub is. I definitely remember that being on your list and me saying like, okay, well, after watching it, I do know that it hits the right formula for my boy, so it makes sense.
It's
Yeah,
definitely good.
definitely hit my top
It,
10.
it is it is definitely good.
Yeah, it literally has all of the elements from anime that I love, and it's a mashup of goodness. And this is one of the cases where it's like, all right, I'll take all the good things. And they did it well. They blended it very, very well together, and just again, man, paying homage, like little inside jokes for us weebs, that we can really truly appreciate. And I love it, man. I'm here for it.
But this ain't a Jujutsu Kaisen cast, alright?
That's
I
true.
mean, I get that. I do.
I guess, before we start, I should say, I finally did my true ending run of Persona 5 this week.
I'm so proud of you.
I
I've been
my.
waiting
I
for so
definitely
long.
made certain decisions in the first playthrough that ended it early on purpose because I was bad at Persona. And
okay.
going through New Game Plus, it was good. I love that game. It's my favorite game now. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I would
Persona.
definitely recommend it too. I gotta play Strikers. I gotta play Strikers. I haven't played it yet.
I am waiting for Justice to finish playing his coffee because we're in
Yeah.
sync
Ah.
still.
I'm like 20 hours in. It's fun. It's definitely different.
I heard it was the most Persona Koei Tecmo. It is the most like not Koei Tecmo game.
I would agree with that.
That's
It,
interesting. See, I can't wait to try it out then.
it feels like it's so close to being an Atlas Persona game, but it's like just different enough to it like feels not like impostery, but like it's definitely a very good homage. They did a lot of like work to make it feel like a Persona game.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't played it yet, but I'll definitely probably check it out then.
Is it multiplayer to ask?
I am not sure.
Because I know some of the other games in that vein are
They
multiplayer,
are,
so you can
aren't
play
they?
as yeah.
You know, if
That's
I
how
could,
we did Pirate Warriors, me and Sec back. Like obviously not
Oh
all
my
of them,
gosh.
but we did Pirate Warriors 3 together.
Such good days.
y'all, what if we just stream Strikers?
I mean,
Well, we gotta figure out if it's multiplayer first.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just putting that out there. If there was if there
Absolutely.
was a Koei Tecmo game that wouldn't be though, I would imagine it'd be this one. Because if you're not
Yeah.
Joker, what are you doing?
You can play as all the
And
people.
that's the question.
I mean, if you can play not Ryuji, Akechi, then I play Akechi.
No comment.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure if that's a. I'll let you decide on that one.
I would still go with no comment.
All right.
There you go.
With that said, we should probably roll into Shaman King. It's been a
Yeah,
little minute. We
yeah.
stalled long enough.
I miss
Before
you
we
guys.
do
We
get-
haven't spoken in like 2 weeks.
I know.
Yeah. For me, it's been like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My gosh. Which before we do get started, I did want to let our viewers know one thing. Last time you guys heard from me, I was telling you that my group would be releasing our album, our EP album, coming up soon. Just a heads up, that's been pushed back for technical difficulty reasons. And on to Shaman King.
To be
So-
Shaman King.
So, to anyone who was in the stream at the beginning, you heard a great theme song. But we did it. Shaman King, first 108 chapters. Boy, is this
Chime
a...
in first.
Real
It was
fast on
hard,
this.
bro. It was hard at first.
That
for it
first-
to be a classic.
That first 20, dude. That first, like, 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Boy.
It was
it
a
was rough.
struggle.
I didn't
It-
realize how slow it was.
It's not even just
Yeah.
that it's slow so much as that like you said, that first 20 chapters, a lot of nothing happens. Like there's some definitively like interesting plot points that are set up, like character personalities and certain like power systems slowly being put in place. So I'm not going to say absolutely nothing happens, but like in the grand scheme, most of those first 20 chapters is really just him kind of figuring out what he wants to do. It feels like I'm not saying definitely that's what he's doing, but it feels like he's trying to get into his groove, because if you compare that to
like
by the
what's-
time the tournament starts, it's almost an entirely different flow, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, you're
No,
completely
it
right.
is an
as soon as we
entirely
saw
different pro.
as soon as we saw Oversouls for the first time, that was it.
Yeah. That's
And
like
that's what I'm saying. That's what, as soon as this tournament starts rolling around, that's when a lot of stuff starts happening.
And
So like,
it's-
again, that's
it's-
not bad, but
It was super dense.
Yeah, that's like a big.
Yeah.
It's a big Shonen Jump thing, especially from that era. Like series will start
That's
with
true.
a premise, like Rurouni Kenshin's about samurai, or like this is
Naruto's about ninjas. I mean, Naruto
Yeah,
was
but
like
Naruto
that.
like
Eh.
it kind of starts a little faster. I think like you get 2 chapters
A
of
little
like
bit, yeah.
bullshit, and then he's in the team, and they're doing team stuff. Like Yu Yu Hakusho, like it takes a long time before like while he's still a ghost. There are like a lot of just like one-off stories where nothing's happening in the manga,
Yeah, that's literally true. Yeah,
and it's
it
just
even
that
it
vibe.
even makes its way into the anime, which is kind of hard to swallow, because like he doesn't become spirit detective for a good hot minute. Well, not to say that it's bad, but it just for a good long minute you're like, okay, this is called like Spirit Files or some crap. Where's
Right? Yeah,
where's
it's
the
a little.
detective?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like 10, 15 episodes in the Yu Yu Hakusho anime before like Yusuke's going to go see Genkai, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. And there's like
It's dense though.
they cut out like a couple of short arcs from the manga. There are like 2 or 3 other storylines of him still being a ghost before
That
they
is
get
kinda
to be
wild.
alive.
Maybe
Oh.
it was a wise decision to cut them.
As far as Shaman King go, like I said, I do want to give it its due. It does kind of set up little things with those side stories, at least. So I can't like hate on it too much as far as those first 20 chapters go, because as much as I wanted to get straight into the action, it does kind of explain the characters and their place in the world, especially Yo and his personality. Like, as much as I did not care about the boxer situation, and that held pretty much no like plot relevance, like it doesn't do anything for the plot if that didn't exist. It does establish his character, and
Very
it
well.
does establish like his optimism and his positivity and stuff like that. And the same thing
Guys.
happens with the sign ghost. Like, that sign ghost
Yeah.
situation does
We're
not
moving too
really
fast,
hold
y'all.
that much weight.
We
I'm
haven't
sorry,
We
I'm
haven't
sorry,
even
it
told
just-
people what Shaman King is. Like,
That's true. You're right.
we're going.
You're right.
We're
I
going into
apologize.
specific arcs and Shaman King. The story starts off
Alright, Cynic.
with Yo, the goat, aka Justice's spirit animal.
It's seriously, like, y'all think we playing, but like, Yo, if you are following along with us, Justice is literally Yo.
I do vibe with Yo a lot.
Oh man. And
Uh,
let's not forget his best friend slash trusty sidekick,
Amita Maru.
Manta.
Wait.
Wait.
Oh.
Oh, oh, oh.
Well, Amidamaru is a thing, but Manta came first. There you go.
Sec,
I mean, that
why
is
don't you
technically
explain
true.
it? Like,
That's
I feel
actually
like you
technically true.
didn't you put this series up, Sec?
Yes, actually I did.
Why don't you do the synopsis?
Alright, I can. Um okay, so oh boy. You just gonna have to, push the you just gonna have to poke me if I'm taking too long.
Alright. I'll
Um
say the word
alright.
poke even.
I will be highly amused if you do that. Um Alright, so like Cynic was saying, the very beginning of our story we have Yo. He is a shaman, a boy who can speak to spirits. Now, shaman in the Shaman King anime is not necessarily the stereotypical shaman kind of like definition. Anyone who can see spirits and commune with spirits is basically a shaman or has the potential to be a shaman. So I said that way very specifically for a reason. Um, but Yo comes to this town in Tokyo. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he meets Manta. So Manta is literally the opposite of Yo. He is uptight. He is the guy that is like, I believe in concrete things that I can see. He's like, super duper smart. So he is literally the opposite of Yo. Not saying that Yo's not smart, because that man is smart, but Mott's is book smart.
I would say Yo is wise if we're going by D&D stats, which fits.
It does.
Or
I
intuitive, even.
Yeah,
I think that those two kind of go hand in hand, though,
Uh,
in my opinion, the wisdom and the intuition. But I do think that both words fit Yo very, very well. So,
doesn't the story even start off in Manta's point of view? Like, we're looking at him, and then we're following through in the day of this like hard-working student in Japan, and he tries to go to he cuts through a graveyard to get home, and there's Yo with a bunch of ghosts. He's
Just
like,
hanging out.
"Sup,
Just
friend?"
chilling, just chilling in the
Got his
graveyard,
headphones
being like,
on, listening to his favorite music, vibing with some ghosts. And
Bob
Monta's
Marley.
like, Nani. Except, probably not that, except maybe also that.
Not definitely that. Like with Monta's personality, Nani, any of the Nani memes that you see on any social media, yeah, that is Monta in this moment.
And I mean, honestly, this is where the story really like places everybody on the board. And the reason I say that is because you have Monta who's never been able to see ghosts before, but some fate, and fate does seem to play a big portion of this. Makes
Oh,
it so
okay.
that him meeting Yo changes his whole destiny. He can start seeing spirits. Like they don't give an in-story explanation so far, but I don't think you really need one. It pretty seems cut and dry that once he met Yo, his fate kind of changed, his destiny kind of changed, and that's how he was able to see ghosts from then on.
Yep, yep. So moving on from there a little bit, just to kind of speed us up a little bit more. So the first 20 chapters are basically like we have basically said. Um, it is Manta. It's important to know that the story is being told from the perspective of Manta. Manta is effectively the narrator, but it is Manta and Yo. Like these first 20 chapters, it's Manta being introduced to the world of spirits, what shamans do. He's learning about what kind of shamans there are out there, and I mean even just like their significance to society. And I'm just gonna kind of
Exaggerated sigh. Poke.
All right.
But also
Speed up a little.
exaggerated sigh, because I swear if Monta ends up writing a book about shamanism by the end, it just seems
Okay.
like the ending. It's writing itself. I'm here. I'm not gonna be upset, but I haven't read it before, and I want everyone to know I called it if it happens.
I mean, the way
Okay.
he's studying every encyclopedia possible, jotting down all information possible, yeah, it seems pretty likely that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah. All right. So now to start to kind of get into the meat and bones of, well, not really meat and bones, but let me give you a little bit more about the premise of kind of the next little portion. So we start to see Yo interact with other shamans, um, such as Ryu. No, sorry, my bad. Rin. I don't know why I said Ryu, but Rin, his family, and some other people before things start to really, really get real. We see some opposing views on how shamans see and use and interact with spirits. So, Yo, is because this is important. Like and this will help sum up those 20 chapters. Yo is a person who believes that anyone who can see spirits is a good person. But not only that, like Yo sees spirits as like they're your friends. You know, they're not tools. Um they're not just a means to an end. Each spirit, he treats them like they are their own individual person. So, speeding up again because I did get the poke. We're gonna get to the shaman fight. So basically,
Enter King of Iron Fist tournament. Oh wait, wrong tournament.
wrong tournament. Wrong tournament arc, sir. Um, so we enter the shaman fight, and the shaman fight is basically this: every 500 years, there is a shit held to determine the shaman king, and the shaman king for basic, a basic
They're
of
God.
what
They
that
become
is,
God essentially.
or savior, one of the two. But yeah, effectively God. Like that is probably the best way to put it.
Like,
Um,
let's give a couple of the past Shaman Kings, like in universe. We have Buddha.
um,
We have
yes,
Jesus.
yep.
Oh, hold on. They said potentially. He wanted to leave some room for
Oh,
doubt, and the only reason I
that's
even mentioned
fair.
that,
That's fair. That was a
the
potential.
only reason I mentioned it though is because I feel like he was trying to dodge a bullet. If anybody of that religion got a little pissy, he could be like, "No, wait. It was
Yeah,
an
it said it
option. It's an
could be.
option,
It's up
not
to
that it's
interpretation.
guaranteed."
Right. Um, but for real, Jesus, Buddha, probably Gandhi. I feel like Gandhi was one of the ones that was mentioned. Um, so like, effectively like
And again, this was
people.
written in like the 2000s. I hear people
Right.
are canceling Gandhi now.
Oh, it's okay.
Let's not get into
I'm not
that
gonna
one.
touch that. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
let's move away.
I
Let's
don't
walk
know what's
past that
happening.
conversation.
But yes, so this is the purpose of the shaman fight, to determine the shaman king, aka God, aka Savior, aka still not your daddy. Yeah, I did that. Um,
Oh, jeez.
um, so once the shaman fight, basically, oh, I guess we do have to get into the qualifier for the shaman fight, right? Or are we gonna speed over that? So
I
next,
mean,
I mean, really, we should be able to jump right in,
I
like, and
mean,
start explaining
the
some stuff.
qualifier is him learning to use Oversoul, which is basically how they fight from. When they started the series, they were people were fighting by getting possessed by spirits and using that spirit's abilities through their own body. But after the tournament starts, they start imbuing like their spirit energy into objects or manifesting things to use.
Yeah, basically like channeling spirits through like an important object of their life and
so
using
for
their own
example,
power to like do crazy shit.
yeah. So like a small
And
example would be like an eagle feather. The feather was the medium. For Yo, the sword for his samurai spirit. For Rin, the spear with his Chinese general spirit, that sort of
Basan,
thing.
I think it's how you say his name, Basan or Basan.
Yeah, if the sub and or English dub is anything to go off of, then it would be Basan.
Okay.
Um,
I thought it was Basan, but I haven't watched the anime in a long time, so I'm just going based off of like what I read.
yeah,
I
it's
will
pretty
also
fat.
mention
Go ahead.
uh I'm sorry, oversoul is what separates the man from the boys, and the reason I say that is because to some extent, and this is said in the story, everybody can be affected by spirits. Everybody can, and I don't mean see exactly, but just that they can be affected, whether that be possessed by, cursed by, or whatever else. Everybody has some level of, attachment to spirits. People who actually can manipulate spirits and then create an oversoul, that's what separates the men from the boys. That's where it's like, okay, you are definitely not just a shaman, not just a person who can see spirits, but like those people. So like you're that dude now. Like if you could do that.
Right,
And I
right.
think that is an important distinction that they make in the story, that just being able to see ghosts, being able to have potential to be a shaman is not enough. Once you get an oversoul, that's when you're like, you
Able to
know,
participate in the tournament. And I mean, even
exactly.
going a little step further, you have to be able to at least injure the examiner. Um, which in a moment I will of course get to the part
Yeah,
where
we'll get to a lot of that.
yeah. So
That
I'm
last
actually
20
gonna pass
chapters, I
the
swear,
dude.
blew my mind.
So I'm actually gonna pass the torch here on to Jin. So you can talk a little bit more about the shaman fight and kind of like some of the things that go on.
So, like was said before, like we start off that story with people just being able to have their bodies possessed by the spirits, and that seems like what it's going to be until we reach the oversouls. And I do think the oversoul was the better idea. One of the first things that we recognize is that everybody can use their oversoul a little bit differently, which I think is great for a magic system. If everybody's basically doing the same thing, it kind of gets stale. But because everybody can do something different, we have Yo being able to take Amidamaru his spirit and put it in his sword, and then now Amidamaru is able to not only protect him with the sword, but now he's able to make shields and stuff like that. Like it actually affects his battle style, and then we go from that to Ren being able to or use a horse and use Basan at the same time, and that totally changes his way of battling. So you actually get to see how Oversoul drastically changes the battling style to the extent that one of the people that Yo fights, who is a psychopath,
Yeah, kind
uh,
Yeah.
of.
psychopath is
Oof.
definitely the word.
No
um,
disagreement here.
So he's able to put his oversouls into skeletons and practice basically necromancy, which goes off of what Sex said about how being able to manipulate sea ghosts and stuff like that. Necromancy falls under shamanism. Being able to do the Chinese zombies, that is also falls under shamanism, even though shaman is typically more like medicine doctory and witch doctory. This spreads anybody who can affect spirits in any way, whether it be just their bones or body, or whether it be their souls itself. They're all shamans. And because of that, people can use their oversouls in such drastically different ways, including and up to controlling multiple spirits and nature itself, that it really changes the dynamic of how people fight. And it's crazy because as you see Yo's team get built for the tournament, and I say team loosely because they're still technically all competitors against each
Man,
other,
it's okay,
but
man. It's the 5-man band. Like,
yeah,
it's
exactly. I just
literally.
wanted to be fair. They're still competing against each other, but at least they're working together until that's the last option. You know what I'm saying? Until that's the last possible option to fight each other. Think Yugi and freaking Joey when they were going through the Duelist Kingdom. They were both technically working against each other because only one of them can win at the end. But up until then, they never fought each other. It's the same concept. Um, by the time you start to see that band come together, the 5 band man come together, you get to see how drastically each individual's powers just work. I think Ryu, and I know it's going to sound obvious to some of the people in the cast, I think his is the most interesting, and not because of how it works, but because of what we've seen and what we didn't see. when we first see him fight, he uses a baby oversoul. And what I mean by that is that oversouls come in stages. So you have basically like just the energy of the spirit around your weapon or whatever medium you use. Then you actually have a full-blown oversoul where the actual spirit becomes tangible in reality. The reason I'm saying Ryu hadn't used one of the ones that make your ghost tangible is because up until then he was only using the energy around the sword, and he was keeping up with people who could use full blown oversouls, which I was like, no one's gonna talk about that. Like this boy's out here handling business with a baby oversoul. Like
Yo, talk
no
about how he
problem.
entered the tournament. Like, he wasn't even
Not
supposed
only-
to show up, and they were like, alright, just defeat 2 guys.
In 3 months, he had 3 months of training. And honestly, even 3 months might be stretching it because he said it was 3 months, but when you see the flashback of how he actually did it, it took him like a week for the person to train him. Then after that, he had been dropped off in the mountains and had to climb a mountain. And so it's like, for probably 2 weeks out of that 3 months, he wasn't even being trained. He was just being tested. And in that 3 month time period, he's keeping up with people who've been doing this their entire lives. Literally, like, basically from birth. And again, these people can use full-blown oversouls that affect reality. Like, one guy's literally using ice and snow to affect reality itself. And this guy's like, yeah, I kicked 2 guys' ass and I entered the tournament. And then you just don't see him use anything even, like, remotely similar.
Also-
even to Rin and Yo.
He is one of 2 people who is using a human spirit, like, only a human soul.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Ren does too, doesn't he?
He does.
So
3 people, yeah.
Ren, Yo, and Ryu are the only ones that we've seen so far in the Shaman fight using human spirits. Everybody else is on some nature shit. Like, we see ice,
Or other stuff.
we see fire,
Yeah.
we see some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Necromancer again. That was wild.
Trolling leaves even. I know, like, technically that's his grandfather, and his grandfather isn't in the shaman fight, but the fact that he can use his oversoul on leaves and have those leaves attack people as literal, like, little avatars for his oversoul is kind of like, oversouls can basically do anything. Like, as long as you have the right
There's
median and
Yeah.
ability, you can pretty much make them do anything.
There stands with the
Did we
medium.
mention? Did we mention Ren's father since we're talking about oversouls?
We haven't even gotten there yet,
man.
nah.
Man.
Okay, sorry. I know you said something about Yo's grandfather, so I was like, I mean, you want to talk about weird oversouls?
Alright, so in the collection of the Lancer and the 5-man band, Ren,
Uh-huh.
who originally viewed souls and spirits as tools to be used by people, the shamans.
That was changed
He fought and
by
lost.
Yo.
He fought and tied with Yo to qualify for the Shaman fight tournament. It was both of their last round, and they made it in. It was literally the last fight of the tournament. Everybody
Yeah.
watched.
It
Yep.
was pretty freaking awesome. I have to
Yeah, I
admit,
like
like
how-
for a. Go ahead,
I
Justice.
like how
I'm sorry.
Yo had the first fight and the last fight. Like, literally. Like, him and Horo Horo is, like, the first fight of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's, like, the first fight of the qualifiers, and he had the last fight of the whole qualifiers.
He had
Yeah.
some of the most intense qualifying matches, if you ask me.
I don't remember
That's
seeing
true.
anyone else's, to be honest. So
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. That is fair. But I was just saying, like, considering, you know what, since we're talking about these fights in Rin, one thing about Rin, when he, in his qualifying to even enter the Shaman fight, he killed his examiner.
yeah, that
That's
did
a big
happen.
deal. That's a really big deal.
Because technically there were no rules against killing the examiner, but like that's not a good look.
Yep.
I mean,
Plus,
not
that was the
only
first
is it not a
time he'd
good
ever
look,
used oversoul. Let's remember
Right.
that.
right? But it also is an indicator to Ren's power. Ren was powerful enough to not just damage the examiner, but kill him. One shot. It's not like, from my understanding, it's not like Ren was like, ora, 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 you gotta die, ora, ora, ora. Just I'm going in Oversoul. You want me to damage you. You didn't live through the test. So I passed by default because you did. But again, that says a lot about Rin's strength.
Yeah, he was the one that we were to be fearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were, and the examiners were all talking about it in the background. One of them is like, man, there's some whole drama with Silva.
Mm-hmm. Silva.
Man,
Yo's
think it's
examiner, also sponsor, basically.
I think it's important to actually quantify this though, because when Yo first used his oversoul, which he was struggling to do, he only scratched Silva's forehead. And I do mean it the way I put it. Like, he thought he didn't pass after learning how to use Oversoul. And Silva was kind of like, nah, he kind of scratched my forehead. That's damage. So, that counts. Versus Ren's over here like, nah, Yaga. It just ends this whole man's career. Literally. It's a drastic difference.
Right. So that
so
does say, I was gonna say that does say a lot about, like, where Yo came up to be able to be an even match for Rin, who again killed his examiner.
you know what? Why don't
Um,
we just go over like each matchup and say how they went?
okay.
So,
So in that
Yo,
case,
like Justice said earlier, Yo started the whole tournament fighting Horo Horo, and they become like best friends.
best of
Sure, dude.
friends.
Horo even just like starts living at Yo's house for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, Horo and Yo's relationship is beautiful. I have to admit that.
Especially because they hated each other's names. Like, that's like a very distinct thing they both hated about each other at first.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Like, your
But I
name's
love-
stupid. Your name's stupid.
I love like the beginning part of the fight. Horo's like it tells him his dream of like wanting to build a Fuki field, like these kind of like big leaf plants that no one who's bad can enter because like humans like to expand and are destroying nature. And Yo's just like, why I can't fight you while you're telling me your awesome dream? That's not fair.
Hey, you get to be Shaman King.
I guess I'll just make your dream happen when I become Shaman King.
Because Yo's that kind of character, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
That's great.
I missed one super important aspect that continuously does come back up. Yo's dream is to live an easy life. Nothing more, nothing less. There you go.
Which that's the biggest relatable thing about him for me. Like, I'm like, you know what? That's fair, Chief. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
Like,
I'm
he's
right there
not,
with you.
He's not trying to become God to achieve any, like, great ambition or anything crazy. He just wants an easy life where he can lay back and listen to his favorite music whenever he wants.
Bob Marley.
Yeah,
Probably.
that
I remember
man
that train
knew
arc.
Yo's personality. They were like, he had a plant on his shirt that was very distinctive of what he likes, and his favorite artist is named Bob. They don't say Marley, but
Yeah.
it's
saying
pretty clear.
I'm saying
Like,
Bob Marley.
they're pretty clear about what type of guy he is. I'm like, wait a minute, that explains why he's so laid back and stuff. This boy's buzzed. He is all the time just zooted. He's gone. Like, no wonder he's not afraid of anything. No wonder he's so
Shaman, you
confident
haven't
because he
met-
just.
probably got access to some good stuff. That's all I'm
I'm
going.
telling you, he's like, he's gone all day,
He's going
and
up
he
to
sleeps
the
all the
astral
time.
plane, my dude.
Hey, that's a whole different kind of trip.
That boy be gone. Like, jeez. That's. I think also one of the things that really becomes important to his character, is just how much everyone else is affected by him. Because we have Ryu, which we brought up already. He goes from seeming like kind of a jerk. Honestly, if we're gonna be honest,
He almost
starts off
seemed like a
seeming like a jerk.
stereotypical delinquent.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Literally
he gives me
Polar
big
Bear.
Kuwabara energy. I said that when I
Yeah.
was starting
Literally.
the ring, and I was just like, yeah, that's it.
I mean, they both have pompadours, so.
Hey,
But
Mr. Vape 90.
And hey, what's going on?
what's up? Welcome to the stream, bro. But yeah, Ryu or Rio, because they do change how they say his name. I noticed over the course of time. He's a good guy. He's just looking for his best place, so. But you know. And yes, every time I say best place, so I'm gonna say it just like that. So y'all just have to do it.
You're not digging into weave enough, man. You gotta deepen your voice.
You mean
Best of
deeper in my
place.
soul? Oh, okay, all right. Shoot, I was trying to keep it, cordial.
No, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, dig in. Don't live life half-assed.
All right, man. I'll go hard next time I say. But continue.
Oh, okay. So that was fight one, Horo, and the second member of the 5-man band.
Right.
Yo
So
wins.
our next
I know we
fight,
didn't say
Yeah,
that, but
Yo
wins.
wins.
Yo wins. It's not even like
You
I
have to
don't
win
even think
2
it's
out of
really
3
that
matches
close.
to move on out of the preliminaries. So in the second fight, remember that necromancer we were talking about? Yeah.
So that's his second round. He gets the wonderful privilege of facing off against Faust the Eighth. Now, Faust is it's important to note that pre-going into this fight, we missed the an important character's introduction, which I'll go ahead and introduce her now.
We did.
Anna,
Yeah,
the
that's
wife
true.
of the Shaman King.
Literally,
she is
that is her pride and joy.
That is how she introduces herself. I am Anna. I am badass shaman. I think I don't know how to pronounce it, so please, guys, do not butcher me for this. But I think it's Itako, a special type of shaman. She could basically call spirits that have moved on. She can call spirits from anywhere. So Anna is not like, yo, let's just get this out the way now.
Opposite.
That's
Anna,
flipped it light.
Yeah, Anna is the oh god, she is the oh god, I don't know. She's the
Abusive spouse. Just say it. Just get it out. She's an abusive spouse, man. I'm sorry.
Listen,
she needs to catch some hands,
I
bro.
never saw any violence. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know
we
why you
saw
didn't
Yo's
see it.
tears.
It's on you.
All Yo's tears. Okay, we saw Yo's tears. That's all I'm gonna say. It was in the name of quote unquote training, but we saw Yo's tears.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna explain later. When we bring up another character, I'll prove how much she's of an abusive spouse she is. You'll see what I'm talking about
I
later.
know who you're talking about. We'll get there.
All right.
when we get there.
Back to Faust and why it's important that I introduce Anna there. So Anna, again, her pride and joy. She is Nanitiko, the wife of the Shaman King. Yes, her and Yo are fiance, and her whole thing is engaged. I don't know why I said fiance, but it is what it is. But yes, they're engaged, and she's like, Yo is gonna win the Shaman King tournament for 2 reasons: A, she's confident in him, and B, because she said so, and that if Anna says so, that's it. Don't question it, unless you want her mighty slap to the face, which Manta has received. He was
Several times. Several times.
I don't think just Manta. She's been hit on by like pretty much every dude who shows up and likes women.
Pretty true.
We'll get to that because I have to. Because there's one instance that happens later with another person.
Rio did too.
Oh yeah,
He was enchanted
yeah.
when he first saw her. That was like one of the reasons he was coming up there. I think.
and one of the reasons he wanted to fight Yo.
She also punched Horo like right at the beginning of the fight.
It was
She
pretty
really
good.
did. He thought that she was going to be a combatant. That's what he thought. Her was like, whoa, okay. She must be the actual person I'm supposed to fight. Hold on.
But yes, all of these little things are definitely a good way to show you Anna's personality. She is a I take no shit from no man, period, person. And Silva literally told Anna, hey, have Yo quit this fight. Just have him forfeit. He can still participate in the tournament. But if Yo goes into this fight, he gonna die. Just straight up. And this is against Faust. If Silva's literally like, yeah, don't do it, don't do it. Yo, don't want that smoke. I'm gonna go ahead and say Yo didn't want that smoke. Um,
Yo,
for a
and
lot
you,
of reasons.
and Yo indeed did not want that smoke.
He really didn't.
He got
Uh,
wrecked, guys. Like, if we haven't made it clear enough already,
it was
Man,
bad.
that's like cutting out
It
all
was
the crazy shit that happens. Though. Like,
Yeah, because if we do get into it, I'll get into a little bit. So Mont's is there, of course. Mont's is there for like most
oh
of what's
god,
going on.
yeah. Oh
Yep,
no, you just
and
reopened the trauma,
yep,
and I feel like
this
me using the word reopen made it worse.
yep, it did because yeah, very good word choice there. Um, Faust is the first, maybe second, because Rin does piss him off, but Faust is the first person to really, truly enrage Yo. Now, remember all that we said about Yo. He's a Bob Marley fan. For y'all who get the reference, you know what I mean. Um, he Monta ends up getting swept into this fight, and Faust is literally like, "Yeah, I don't really care about the fight anymore. I'm about to dissect Monta because he's a weird midget, and I got to see what's going on with his bone structure." And so
He is a doctor.
before the
Like
fight starts,
he's like
he
a
is the doctor.
crazy doctor surgeon. He's not just trying to dissect him randomly. Well, I guess
Yeah,
randomly isn't the right
he is.
word.
Well, it is
It,
random.
it
It is random, but
he
he
is
is like a
definitely
genius
like put
doctor.
forth as a genius doctor. Like there's a moment later in the story where he like injects himself with morphine to not feel pain so he can deal with whatever.
he does that in this fight too. He does.
Oh,
that, like,
he does that
every
in this
time.
fight,
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, he does do it in this fight. I mean,
Man,
yeah,
you gotta be a
he-
pro to like microdose morphine like that.
Yeah.
I think.
So I'm gonna just kind of highlight some of this stuff because it is a lot that happens. This is one of the more dense fights, um, but Monta gets caught up in the fight before the fight starts because Faust is like, "I'm interested in you, and I'm gonna dissect you." And Yo's not here for that. Of course, Monta isn't either. But what's Monta gonna do? Like, let's just go ahead and get that
He's
out the way.
gonna
What's
lay
Monta
there
gonna
and
do?
have his
Take
fucking body opened up.
Right.
So, do y'all mind if I cut in on this part real quick? Because this is going to be something that bugs me that I won't be able to drop later.
All right, go ahead.
Up until this part of the story, and I think this might be the point where he realizes he needs to straighten up a little bit. The mangaka kind of plays down a lot of the stakes by doing comedic choices that I think are a little bit distasteful. And what I mean by that is there'll be points where something serious is happening and he just throws a joke in there, very like oddball, like out of nowhere. Like this guy has his chest open, we can see his muscles and his bones, and he's just like 3 times in this fight he like blood splatters out of his chest because he gets quote unquote too excited, and it doesn't even come off as funny, it just comes off as like silly in a negative way. Like why are like this is not the time to be joking. This is a really interesting and deep fight. We're really hoping he saves his friend, and you're really just making it seem like it does none of it matters because we could just joke about the fact that his chest is wide open, and
Meanwhile, Yo
just
is his blood lusted.
it literally blood like you ruined this man's whole high because he was ready to kill this guy basically. Like he didn't say I'm gonna kill you, but he did not say he wasn't gonna kill him either. Let's put it like that. Like
He
and
did
just
say he
it
couldn't
kind
forgive
of
him. That's
Man,
all I'm gonna
that
say.
was
He
a
did.
lot
When
of
the
negatives in
protagonist
that.
says,
That
"I
was a
can't-"
lot of negatives in that sentence. I couldn't follow. I'm not gonna lie to you. I knew what you
All I'm
meant. I
saying
knew what
is-
you were getting at.
all I'm saying is that like it for me personally, I understand if everyone doesn't agree, but for me personally, it did feel like it took away from some of the stakes. It took away from the seriousness of this fight. Like as gruesome and as crazy as this fight was, I mean, the guy literally was able to take his bone out of his body and just repair it and attach
Yeah,
it to his
he-
muscles
That's that
Oh
whole
yeah,
morphine
that
thing
sure
we
did
were talking
happen.
about. Yeah, he does that mid fight, and
in the
literally
middle
Yo
of
is
the
trying.
fight.
Yeah, and Yo is trying to be like, "Oh, you think you got time? Oh, you think this is a game?" And he's like, "I mean,
Yes.
you're weak, so I do got time. I'll just let my." Oh, he's a necromancer for the record. That's the kind of shaman that Faust is. So he controls the dead. And literally, when I say necromancer, you should get the picture. It's literally what it sounds like.
And that's why I'm saying it does take away from the seriousness of this, because you have these gruesome moments where he's literally replacing his bones, where he's literally having people's chests rip open, and it's just like, also I'm like bleeding, haha, it's pretty funny. Like,
I
don't do that.
I don't recall that.
I do.
It
I
happened
get what you
3
mean.
times.
I feel
Yeah.
like I get where you're coming from, but I also feel like it's a series like for young boys. So I feel like keeping it at that level of like intensity is just like a bit much for like young children. So I can
Maybe,
get-
but he gets better with that later, in my opinion. Like
Oh,
when they
boy,
start
does
fighting
he.
other people, I don't see him make that many jokes mid fight as often. And maybe that's because he did turn it down a little bit with how often people do crazy stuff. I mean, the weirdest thing we've seen lately was the vampire guy Boris, but
You
like
really want to
he
tell me
just
that's the weirdest? Never mind. Go ahead.
well, lately, I'm not saying weirdest period, but like lately, the most recent chapters, that was the weirder thing that happened to me. Um, but I don't know, like it feels like he turned down the comedy just a tidbit, and it's enough comedy for it to still be a comedy, but it's definitely much more serious, or at least he does it better. Like even when Horo fights that bear, there's like a quick comedic moment where the bear hits him, but the rest of that situation is taken as seriously as possible. Like even when the bear dies, I was feeling that moment.
Bro,
Like
I
that's
cried.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
get you.
cried.
I definitely think he grows as a writer. Definitely. I just feel
Okay,
like
that's all I'm trying to
get
say.
why he would do those kinds of things because like the magazine is for like 8 to 18, and I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine being 8 and watching this kid just like bleeding out while his friend can't
And not
help
have a
him. Like
joke
that's
in
heavy.
there, yeah. And not having a joke in there and not being like kind of mortified from it as an 8-year-old.
But I
Now,
do.
as a
I do
grown
also.
man,
I totally understand like having the tonal whiplash of it.
and that's really what it was.
Yeah, I feel
That's
that.
all it was.
it just kind of takes the immersion of the experience out a little bit.
Sure.
When he does it at like with the Faust incident, I can admit that it broke my immersion. When I noticed, I was like, I mean, but this isn't the time to be joking. Like, this is
This man's
serious.
gonna die. Like
Yeah, like Monta could bleed out right now. Like, this ain't no time to be joking.
yeah, so it gets better though. I will immediately say after mentioning that, it does get better in my opinion as far as like he doesn't break my immersion nearly as much after that moment. So I do want to give credit where credit is due. It was a complaint I had, and I do think it was a fair criticism, but he has changed it at least enough that I can overlook it. And so I will give credit where credit is due. He has grown there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this fight up if everybody's kind of okay with that. I think we
Yeah.
kind of hit a lot of the highlights. Okay, so as we said before, Yo loses. Now it's not your normal loss, just so that it's known. It's like Yo really did give his best effort and even kind of figured some things out. But Faust, like Furioku, is basically the magic.
I'm gonna call it
system
spirit
loose
energy.
The
leaf
key,
for-
you have to say spirit, key energy, whatever you want to call it. It's that chakra, key, spirit, energy, same thing.
Right.
It's that.
and basically like yeah. So the whole way the tournament works, like without killing each other, if you break your opponent's oversoul and they're not able to basically like if you completely deplete either their Furioku or oversoul, which is the same thing, then you win that way. So Faust does that to Yo because he has better Furioku management. We'll just put it that way for as simple as possible. But even once it is over, Faust is literally like, "Oh, you thought I gave a fuck about this tournament? Oh no, Yo made me mad. He gotta die, and he doesn't get to kill Yo, but he hurts him pretty bad. So I'm gonna just leave it at that because
Laid up for 3 months.
yeah, laid up for 3 months. And so that is a good chance to segue into the next fight. So as we did previously mention, he gets the last fight of the qualifying round with Rin.
Though right before that, he does he does like a little training arc
It's true.
with his grandpa, where we just find out one really cool thing there, like one important thing, not really cool, that like the amount of Furyoku you have is like constant. Like you're born with a set amount of Furyoku, and the only way to get more is basically to die and then come back. Like you have to like hone your spirit, and that's how like
you increase one's for Furyoku.
Yeah, and so he goes into like a super dark cave where it's like he basically kills all of his senses and has like the time to focus on his soul to become stronger.
My gosh, the shamans knew about sensory deprecation before anyone.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about like what they were doing, it would make sense that they would know about it. And when you think about all of the kind of like hype that surrounded that cave, it wasn't a joke. You know, it wasn't something that Yo could take on half-heartedly and get by. There was another very real chance of him dying. Yes, I know he's the main character, so take that with a grain of salt. But at the same time, like,
hey man, Manta and Ryu thought he was going to die.
Yeah, I mean, even Anna was worried. And again, Anna's the, it kind of person. I did miss one very important part at the end of Faust's fight. What saves Yo is not Silva, not Anna, not anybody else except for Rin.
He pulls a Vegeta.
Yeah,
he very much pulls a Vegeta.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he literally shows up and is like, "Oh, the only person that's allowed to kill and or whoop your ass, like for real, that's me. Let me just show you how outclassed you are real quick. You had trouble with this opponent, and this dude."
Oh no, we lost Sek.
Ryoku oversold. And y'all will know what we mean by that in literally the description of the fight with Rin and Yo. But
we don't. You cut out. I don't know what you said.
You cut out for like 5 seconds.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Like it was like a good 5 seconds, give or take.
I had enough time to say, "Oh no, we lost Sek," and then a few seconds of silence.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the last thing y'all heard?
That Ren came in and was
Vegeta.
like the only person who can. Yeah, basically the only person that can kill you is me.
Right. So, and for basically like Faust was operating at 100% oversoul at this point. Basically, like Faust was trying to kill Yo, and Ren sweeps in on his freaking horse in noble knight in shining armor, except he's like an evil fuck. Comes in and is just like, yeah, nah, I'm the only one killing Yo, and just one hit knocks Faust's oversoul, like completely destroys it. And that's the
hit that nah button for real. He hit that nah button.
In all fairness, Yo did drive Faust a lot. He had to like, so the way his power worked is that he had to put his 4EQ in all of the skeletons, and eventually he decided that it was more worth it to have one like pretty decent skeleton, but it was still weak against Yo, and Yo still lost because he had exhausted himself. I wanted to made sure that it was said that like Ren didn't just go in and like no diff this guy because he was like from 100%. Yo
That's
did
true.
a lot of that work.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. When I said the 100% oversoul thing, I know y'all know what I mean because y'all know the context of the Rin and Yo fight and that explanation. That's why I was saying.
Oh yeah, the fight that gets power levels.
Yeah, when I got cut.
Kinda.
When my
And
audio
then immediately
decided
saying
to,
they don't matter.
Yeah.
You gotta.
So hold on, I do want to say though, he does do a better job with quote unquote power levels, spirit levels, and stuff than certain other things we've seen before. The reason I say that is because like the math is on track. No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about anything.
Okay. I was like, do I need to hit the counter?
All I'm saying is it has did it better because there was a little math involved. One person had a set number of Furyoku, another person had another. So Ren has the higher one, I think it was like 250 or something, and then you have Yo's at like 170 or 190 or something smaller. That's all that's important is that it was smaller. Okay, that's what it was.
If I remember the exact numbers right.
Yeah, so it was. I knew it was like one was smaller, one was bigger.
Guess we're power
The reason
scaling
that's
Shaman
important.
King now.
Well, no,
No,
but the reason I'm saying it's important is because when he was putting energy into his oversoul, we actually seen the numbers matter. So instead of it being a power level of like, oh, I have a power level of 100, so that's how strong I am. It's more like mana. So he had 100 mana to put into his oversoul to do an attack. And that's the reason I say, yes, power levels matter, but no, power levels don't matter, because at the end of the day, it's not all about how much of the mana you have, it's how well you use the mana. And they make that very important in this fight.
Honestly,
I'm gonna say that you should hold off before saying that, because there is a point where just trust me, like your explanation is fine for right now and everything that we've seen, but there does become a point like where it's pretty clear it don't matter how you use it, and Justice knows what I'm talking.
If we're talking about final boss stuff, I don't want to use that as an example because that's final boss stuff. I mean,
yeah.
do I need to bring up Sephiroth?
I mean, no, but with this specific person that I am basically referring to, like,
I still don't really
I
think
think-
it's fair. Like, we'll get into that probably in the next reading. But yeah, I think calling them power levels is misleading. They should have just called it MP. Or like spirit.
And that's why I said it's kind of like mana. Like, there is some strength associated with how much mana you have, because obviously, A, you can cast bigger oversouls. B, that's how much output of energy you have. And C, it is much more difficult for a weaker oversoul to destroy or defeat a more powerful oversoul. But realistically, it just comes down to mana. If I have 2 mana and you have 100 mana, my little fireball is not doing anything to your Inferno. It just doesn't matter. But if you have 100 and I have 70, it's much easier for me to just get creative and get around your bigger oversoul and then defeat you from there. And that's what I'm saying. So there is a level of it matters, but it's much less significant when people's power level or mana level or whatever is relatively within reason of one another, if that makes more sense what I'm trying to say.
That's fair. There is one more important factor in the power system of this, and that's the spirit's potential. I think it matters, but it doesn't have a concrete thing that we could explain right now. I don't know if they're going to explain it later, but they did
Yeah.
at least put that as a stat up there that is a factor.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, but we've only seen that pretty much in the Ren fight so far, because since then we haven't really seen as many people's like soul power and spirit power and stuff like that. We haven't seen as much of that
It has been a lot less
after that fight.
It is a lot less tournamenty though. After that fight,
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, there's not a lot
That's
of
true.
tournament in my Shaman King tournament right now. I don't know how I feel about it.
don't worry, we're getting to
Hey,
it.
we're getting to it, man.
That's more like Street Fighter tournament
It
where you
feels-
just meet a guy on the street and start whipping his ass.
Honestly,
that's
it
what
feels like
like.
the Hunter exam.
That's also
Yeah,
fair.
that's
Yeah.
pretty accurate.
I think that's actually a pretty fair comparison.
Yeah.
honestly.
Would have
It's like the
actually been
Hunter
going
exam
on.
fused with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, this probably would have been happening around the same time as that,
Huh.
because they came out pretty close to each other.
That's, I mean,
That's
Okay,
wild.
well, there you go.
Ryu is a JoJo character. That's it. I'm saying it for sure. Dude, some of the stuff I've seen from him, if you can't say he's a JoJo character, you can't say anybody else from any other story is a JoJo character. The man literally does the like leg lift pose that Jotaro does when he's walking up on freaking Dio. Like it like literally he's pointing and everything, and he has his ghost behind him. This man's not a JoJo character. Like, and then he's only 17, and this guy has more hair on his chest than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I thought this man was a grown man because he's over here looking for his best place, and he's like homeless and all this other
Had to
crap.
do it for you.
You're right. But like, I'm looking at all this crap that makes it seem like he's an adult. Nah, he's 17, and it's like, what? Okay, I guess he's 17. That man's a grown man, bro. Like, it is what it is, though. Like, he's a JoJo character. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love how his hairstyles go.
Yeah,
I do as well. I have to admit that I like the fact that that's honestly like a central part of his character, even though it's kind of a gag. Like it actually applies very much to his character. So it's one of the smaller, sillier things, but I appreciate the consistency for it.
I mean, I feel like every character has their thing, though. Like, obviously, his is his hair in his best place, so or whatever you want to say.
We're gonna work on that. For you,
That was
Zen.
like
You
the
don't-
least
you ain't
weeb
no-
way I've ever heard. That's
Yeah, I was like,
I don't
Zen,
like doing weeb
Zen,
stuff. That's
you
why
gonna
I
give
like
somebody-
to be a normal person.
I'm sorry,
But,
Zen. I gotta give you a little bit. Of
You're
shit,
in a
man.
manga
You wanna be
podcast, bro.
somebody's-
yeah,
Be somebody's daddy, bro. You better work on that. You got till the next podcast to get that face down a little bit better, because otherwise you can't call yourself.
Yeah, see,
Papa
Justice is the real normal.
Now
One. He
listen
hasn't
here,
even
son.
attempted to
Okay.
say it.
that's true.
Justice is like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything I don't want to do.
nothing. That's very That's very of you,
But
Justice.
no, for real though, Ryu, like, okay, so Ryu's definitely that character that it shows, like, with his hair, like when he put it back into its serious pompadour moment. That's when he went slap on everybody. I was like, you know what?
We ain't
He
there
said,
yet.
I'm
We
tired
ain't
of all the
there yet.
BS.
We ain't there yet.
I know, but he did it, and it was cool. That was one of the
I
best. I
know.
don't care what nobody says. That's one of the best moments.
And
It
you
was
can
pretty
totally
wild.
take that whole fight over. But let's get through this Ren and Yo fight, because we've been referencing it and we ain't through it.
Because it's so awesome. Like, he don't play. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna just speed through this Ren and Yo fight real quick, because it's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. It shows some things, but you guys more or less explained a lot of how that works. So just because you have more, and we'll use the word mana for right now, or spirit energy, just because you have more spirit energy, and you are using an oversoul that has more in it, does not necessarily guarantee that you are the winner. Oversouls and Furioku are directly tied with the user state of mind. So part of the reason that Yo wins is because he's confident in who he is, where Rin, not so much so. And again, about how Yo changes people as he's fighting them. This comes into play to help Yo get the tie, because that's what happens. It ends in a tie. And yes, some awesome stuff happens. We see some really cool shit, like a golden, the golden spear thing.
Yeah, but that's just action. We can let people read the action.
Yeah.
They,
So
we
they're
get
cool.
to see a good display of their abilities. They're an even match for each other. Yo
Yeah.
finds his Lancer.
I love when
Yeah.
Yo's like, Ren just keeps like assaulting with these attacks, and everyone's just like, "Man, how is he dodging all these attacks?" And he's just like, "Oh no, I've been tanking them the whole time. This is like my 7th oversoul that I've had to make."
Probably
Rin's
putting like 30 or 40 mana into each, so it's kind of like, yeah, I'm losing my oversoul, but like you're just getting pissed off, and like I popped yours, and now you lost 100. So
okay, one thing I am gonna point out from that, I like that Yo learned from his defeat, because that's what that was. Just so that you know, he learned from what happened with Faust, because Faust basically had the better Furioku management, and wasn't just like, I'm pouring it all in right now from the giddy up. So Yo shows that he learns from his fights, and that's all I'm gonna say. We'll move on now. So Yo and Rin get into the Shaman King tournament. Yay! Even though they drawed. Yay!
Pretty much everyone Yo fought ended up in the
Yeah,
whole thing.
actually,
he even fought Ryu at one point. So technically, yeah, like
yeah.
even Ryu.
Yeah.
Well,
Huh.
Monta's the only guy he didn't fight, and Monta's the only one who didn't become a shaman and enter the damn tournament.
Huh.
Right.
I guess also there aren't any women. No, that's not true. There.
Yeah.
I was
Women.
gonna
He
say
didn't
because
fight
he
any.
definitely had to fight.
He fought Ren's sister, but like that was before the tournament started.
That's true.
Right.
One of the ex whatever is a woman. At least one of them is a woman.
X-Log.
We'll get to them.
Yeah,
That's
one of
like-
the ex
that's
ones.
a-
That's a whole thing.
Yeah, there are also those like
Yeah,
3
I know
girls.
it is, but I'm just it is at least a woman that I know that's in the tournament. At least one, if not multiple.
Yeah, there are a
There is
handful.
also, there are also, oh man, somebody take the next part, because like I can tell I'm like I want to talk about this one person really badly, and it's not time
Well,
yet.
isn't
So
Your favorite
isn't it
character.
basically his time?
The
Like
next
the
thing that
next thing,
happens.
the 5-man band. Well, I guess the next thing that happens is that we're gonna talk about Ren's dad. That's what got us here.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're
So,
like, they talk about the
So
shaman.
y'all-
The next phase of the shaman tournament is like, you're probably not coming back from it. Like, no
Yes.
one has ever come back from the shaman tournament. And so Ren's like, well, gotta go throw off my bonds Sasuke style, go kill my family Itachi style. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say that was more of an Itachi thing. He was like, "Yeah, I gotta go in there. I gotta handle business. I'll see y'all later." The whole Uchiha clan. I mean, the whole.
Tao, I think
Yeah, the whole
you're-
Tao clan's getting taken out.
it actually gives me like big, like Zoldyck family arc from Hunter x Hunter.
Literally,
Yep.
literally.
Because he goes back home and the guys are like, nope, not having that. We gotta go save him.
He even gets trapped and tortured. Like it's like
Yep.
almost verbatim the same. He's even like strapped up the same. Like
Yeah, it's literally like getting Killua back if they actually had to fight everybody to get him back.
more
Instead
or
of him
less.
just being like, all right,
they
bye.
wouldn't have lived. Yeah, they wouldn't have lived if for Hunter x Hunter, that wouldn't have been a thing.
Oh, no,
that would have
I
been
mean-
the end of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
just saying they had to fight. Oh, that yeah, goodbye. Sorry, Killer was staying with them.
But see, this is where Ryu becomes important. That I was telling you that he wasn't using, and I don't know if you guys noticed, he was not using a full blown oversoul at this point in the story. And like they fight these Jijangs, I think, or Jijangs, or however you pronounce the name of these zombies, and he's able to keep up with everybody else who's using full blown oversouls, but he's only got the energy around his wooden sword. Like they tell us later on that his wooden sword is made of like holy wood or some mythical wood, but
I
even
think
this,
that
like he
at
didn't.
that point he didn't have that. I think he got that from his special training, which I'm not going to mention at the moment.
Well, that special training had already happened,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah, it was a flashback when they showed the training.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's why I'm
So
saying what
he
I'm
did,
saying.
But
Like,
he did have full blown oversoul.
I didn't say he didn't have it. I say he didn't use it.
Oh, okay. I misheard you, Jin. My bad.
I'm
You
sorry.
still
I
my
just
papa, but,
wanted
you
to
know.
be clear because it's so weird to see. Literally, we have a nature spirit in Horo Horo. I want to make that important because Horo Horo's nature spirit is supposed to be stronger than not just normal spirits, but like even other spirits. Like I said, we have people who can like control plants and bones and all this other stuff. His is supposed to be one of the top tiers, not the best, but it's supposed to be because it controls elements. It's supposed to be top tier level, okay? And he's using full blown oversoul to fight, and Ryu hasn't yet, and he's just using a quote unquote earth spirit or human spirit, is how as they call it. And it's like that's really crazy that no one mentioned of all the shamans there, including Rin, who you would think be the first person to be like, "Huh, that's weird." No one mentions it. They just like ignore the fact that this guy's doing that much damage in this fight and helping out so much. It's super weird to me that no one says anything.
I don't know. It just
Yeah.
seems like something that the author wasn't focused on the characters focusing on. Yo was trying to save new best friend.
True.
And they were fighting zombies that had like snakes for arms and elephant legs. One of them was just
There was a
guns. One
Yeah,
of them was literally just guns.
There
They're
was
the
a lot
best
going
stuff,
on.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
The best stuff. That's exactly what they said. The best stuff. And it's like I'm not sure what that means.
I was like,
Snapple.
what are you saying? Best stuff, best parts. Like, what does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything, apparently.
The Tao family is pretty fucked, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and y'all can read more to find out just how fucked they are, because they're pretty fucked. But I do want to get into Rin's dad's oversoul, because we talking about weird, unique oversouls. So, Rin's dad, the way that we see him and then are introduced to him, that's his oversoul. Which is wild, because like prior to finding that out, it's like, yo, first of all, why is Rin so small and his dad is just like this giant?
Dude, he's like a One Piece
Like this
character.
dude,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to say it. I was looking for space.
yeah.
He's at least 10 or 15 feet tall. This guy has the ability to have a full-size adult panda in his lap like it's a chihuahua. Like, he's not
Oh,
having
God.
any...
I forgot
like-
that he just crushes that panda.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was wild and
Oh
unnecessary.
God!
yeah, yeah.
And then brings it back as a Zhejiang or whatever, like the zombie. It brings it back as a zombie. I'm like, you're a double asshole for that. You
Yep.
couldn't just let it die.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so really we can talk about the plot points that happen here. Actually, I'll just do it real quick. So um power of friendship, and I do use that one. I don't use it a lot, but that this one is one of those instances because they're basically outclassed. And um with their collective powers, power of friendship, um both observational and actual power, Ren's able to discover, wait, you're not actually that you're
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 not
not actually
actually a
my
One
dad.
Piece character?
Nope, he's just a normal looking guy.
Normal looking badass old man
I thought
actually
my
with a
dad was
dapper
Whitebeard!
mustache.
Which is crazy because okay, so the way they explain his power is that one, he has it active at all times up until this point. And the reason that's important is because literally Ren and his elder sister both have seen him in this form since birth. And it's the amalgamation of everyone in the Tao who's died. Like all their whole clan, all of the ghosts of their clan make up his oversoul. And it's like, huh? Like, lag on the play. I'm gonna need you to break them down.
Yes. Yeah, and they don't really. Just to give y'all a heads up, they don't really. He's even able to change the form of his oversoul, which I mean, considering the fact that he was able to hold it at all times, since and I mean, barring Rin because Rin's relatively young, but his older sister is at least 17, 18. Like
Hmm.
she's a young adult, if nothing else. For years, he's had soul engaged at all enough to fool his both of his children into thinking that's what he really looks like. But yeah, but wait, there's more. He's able to change the form of it too.
To a dragon with his face.
Yeah, I really
Dr.
come up with
Robotnik's
not-
Yeah, it
face.
kind of looks like that.
That's Dr. Robotnik. I don't care what anyone says. His oversoul was Dr.
The egg
Robotnik.
dragon.
Never see that the same again. I will literally never look at that the same again.
Alright, so something I wanted to talk about real quick, because they talked about Ren's dad having inherited the souls of all the past shamans and his ancestry. I'm wondering if in the future, as somebody who's never read this, is Ren going to use their spirits and have a crazy oversoul later? Is something that I thought about when that happened, because his ancestors were like, Ren is picking his own path. I like what he's doing.
I mean it.
But see, it seems possible because they have already mentioned, and I honestly, it surprised me because it seemed like it was going like a Pokemon Persona route where it's
Man.
like, yeah, I have a Midamaru, but I'm gonna be able to get multiple souls, which he does attempt like 3 times, but like Ash Ketchum, he fails doing it, and then he just sticks with the Midamaru for the rest. Like
Okay.
that's his Pikachu.
Alright. Flag on the play.
Listen,
Don't you dare compare our man Yo to Ash Ketchum.
I'm talking about specifically with Gathering Spirits because I
He's
mean.
alright.
I don't know. I would
Has
say
a new
Ash
power
is
and
better
it's
at
just
gathering.
Pikachu.
I would say Ash is better at gathering spirits than Yo is a. Ash is better at getting Pokemon than Yo is at gathering spirits, though.
Because he has only had a Midamaru, and he acted like he'd be able to get multiple. He made it seem like he wanted the Boxer guy, for instance, and stuff like that. There were multiple points where you think, oh, okay, well, this is going to be like one of his backup spirits in case like a Midamaru just doesn't cut it for some reason. It doesn't ever happen, at least so far. I'm not going to say what the future holds. I have not read the entirety of the story, but as of today, like he's just had a Midamaru, and that's it. And it's like, then why'd you even play up the idea that he was going to get multiple spirits? Like.
Yeah,
You
I
made it
gotta-
seem like it was going to become important.
I imagine that
I
was his
mean-
first idea. Like when he was writing the series, maybe he was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool if he could use a bunch of different spirits and do a bunch of like zany things," and then was like, "Or Battle Shonen." All right, we're going Battle Shonen, and then develop over
mean-
souls.
That is
Makes
definitely
sense.
a possibility. I would also, personally, my take on it is, I think it was actually more foresight, because when you think about the spirit that they've already mentioned the great spirit at this point. We don't know what the great spirit is, but when you think about what the great spirit is,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I'm going to say. That it could have been alluding to when you realize what the great spirit actually is. That's all I'm going to say.
I guess that makes a little bit of sense.
Also, something I had thought about while reading, while we're talking about Amidamaru, is like how we have these few like human spirits in the tournament, and like there are all these nature spirits, and I'm trying to think if there's any kind of analogy of humans trying to fight with but also coexist with nature, because that's definitely a big theme. I'm just wondering if the spirits are reflecting that theme, or if it's just a cool thing, and I might be digging too deep into it.
So on that note, actually, I'm actually really surprised. No, I gotta wait because we haven't introduced that character. I'll explain later. Go ahead.
Because I had that first thought when Yo fought Horo Horo.
Um,
Hmm.
That's definitely a big part of Horo Horo's character. Like that's
specifically,
especially like from things that we'll go over in a little bit, while like in the second part of the tournament. I guess the first part of the real tournament. Like a major
so-
part of him is nature versus man.
Okay, so let's move this along a little bit, because technically we're still stuck on the Tao family. For basically, like, we gave y'all the synopsis of what happens with Rin and his family and the power of friendship and the weird oversoul. So after that, they resume what they were doing. Shaman, that's what we're here for. That's what the whole purpose is. The shaman fights. Um, so they go to their places. Now I can talk about
I was just
it.
about to tell you. I was about to
Yep.
hint, nudge,
Alright.
nudge. You can talk about your guy now.
All right. So upon entering the place that they're supposed to meet up and everything, um, I think we get a brief introduction to the character Hao, and that is Hao, but it is pronounced Hao,
Who
Yep.
looks like Yo after a time skip.
with
Long hair
long,
and
luscious
everything.
hair, and just he's, to me, Hao is Yo, but like way cooler.
How is Super Saiyan 3, yo? He's like
I
got the power. He's got the confidence. It doesn't matter what's going on. He is so like in control. He says the words, "I'm a king. I know
He's got a
everything."
400 times multiplier to Yo's base.
Yeah, this is just his base stats before he activates any abilities. Yeah. How is that dude? And I'm, because I can't say a whole lot more because relevance. But how is that dude, man?
I can say something. I'll point out how awesome he is. So, he literally kills someone with his flame spirit because that's what his is. He has a top tier spirit, which is a fire spirit. Pretty much the top tier
The
spirit, if we
great
want to be
spirit of
fair.
flame. Yeah,
Yeah.
the great spirit of fire. I think
So
is his actual title.
So this cat attacks a person. It doesn't just burn away their body. He said he burned away their spirit, and she's not coming back to life. Like the reason I make that very distinct is because reincarnation is a possibility in this story. He said none of that. Not only are you dead, you're never coming back. You don't get to be a ghost.
Nope.
He
You don't
said,
get to go
flesh,
back.
the muscle,
Like,
the bones. I burnt it down to the soul, and the
he
soul
was
not
very
left.
specific.
Y'all,
very specific.
there's a big meme in anime where fire doesn't do anything.
Oh, but fire does.
That
that.
fire
Oh, he's
did
the opposite
the
here.
thing. Also,
Man,
something I
how
wanted.
with his fire spirit, that dude's business. Like when what he just said is literally he is the exception to the rule. Like he is
Yeah.
the exception that proves the rule. Every place else, fire doesn't do anything. Actually, him and Rekka from Flame of Rekka, but I'll leave that alone for now. All I'm saying is this boy Hal, if he touches you with his
It's a
spirit,
wrap.
just pray. That's all you got
It's
left.
a wrap. It's a whole ski.
Something I want to say about Hal is okay. So at the finals, like everyone who qualified, which there was a little gag there. It's pretty great. We didn't talk about it. That Rio was at like watching the
Oh yeah,
unveiling.
he he talks about how he's been there the whole time and shows some panels like in a bigger panel, and I went back and saw some of those panels. He was there, like he was actually there.
Oh my god, that's great! I
So
love it.
I do wanna ask. So, do you guys prefer Rio or Ryu? The reason I prefer Ryu is because of his oversoul later on. But which one do you prefer?
I
Because
don't-
of Bokuto no Rio. I prefer Rio because of Bokuto no Rio. Now I know that. I believe that. I'm not gonna say I know. I believe that in the anime dub and sub, they do end up just kind of going with Ryu. But
Mhm.
it is important to note, like I do believe the author intended for his name to be Ryo, because even in the manga, at least that I was reading, it bounces from Ryu to Ryo to Ryu, or sorry, yeah, to Ryu, and then back to Ryo, like because he has an important moment, and he's like, Bokuto no Ryo is back. So I prefer Ryo just because of that, but it is what it is.
So the only
That
reason I
sounds like
preferred
a-
Ryu.
That sounds like it might have just.
Go
been a
ahead.
That sounds like it might just be a translation thing.
I mean, it may be, but the only reason I preferred Ryu is because, from my understanding, that's Dragon, and then he has a serpent-like dragon style ability. So I thought that was kind of like a play on words. I don't know, but that's the only reason I was going with Ryu, because it felt like it was a play off of that fact.
I mean, let's
Okay.
just go with what they said in the anime.
Yeah.
Just feel
So
it out.
we'll call him Ryu.
Okay. I mean, y'all can call him
Ryu.
Ryu. I just wanted to ask because I keep saying Ryu, and I wasn't sure if we were all in consensus on Rio or Ryu or whatever. So I was just asking.
You guys may hear me say Rio. If you hear me say Rio, y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just
okay.
wanted to check.
All right, but yes.
Wait, I was gonna
I'll
say
get
something
next
about
one.
how.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Okay, go
do.
ahead. Yeah.
So,
Yes, please do.
for all the people who like entered the qualifiers, 85 people end up in the in the plane.
Oh, you about to mention that hard flex? God,
No, I'm not. I'm not. See, I was going to mention that hard flex. I'm not going to mention that hard flex. The flex I'm going to mention is that 20 people who have qualified for the tournament are following this man.
Yep.
Ooh,
Out of 85,
Yeah,
that's like a fit. That's more.
It's like almost a quarter.
Bruh, that's at least. There could be more.
Fair.
As far as I know, everybody except for freaking Yo's gang is
X-Laws. We
and
know
the
for sure the
X-Laws,
X-Laws are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like 7 of them. So it's 7 of them plus 5-man band that Yo has that's not with him. Minimum. We know for sure those 7 plus those 5 are the old, guaranteed aren't with him.
And we see
Well,
a panel of
let's
all the
not
people
forget
who
about-
support him. I counted it, and I'm pretty sure it was at least 17. And that's
he
just
has a large number of followers, and this is literally like these people are following Hal because they know what's up.
Yeah, they know what's good. It's
and
no
his
question.
ideology. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't get that out, but also because they know what's up. They know what's up. I'm just gonna keep it as simple as that. But I'm gonna mention his flex real quick. So, the Patch Tribe, they put them on this plane, and I think it was 1,300 kilometers out from their destination. They said, "Ding, ding, ding! Hey, just so that y'all know, you gotta make it to the place where the tournament's being held. We're about to just say fuck it and good luck. Get there. We'll see you in 3 months. You got 3 months." And the plane they are riding in just, oh, cool. I give up now. Boom, falls apart. So here's the flex that Hal does. Falling out of the sky, we don't know how much time he spends falling because he literally is like, hey, fire spirit, great fire spirit, airplane mode. Yeah, y'all followers, come on, y'all are on board. But airplane mode, hey, yo, don't die. I know that you suck, but don't die, and hopefully I'll see you there. And flies off.
And he makes it clear it's flying too. It's not one of those gliding or it's going to protect them on the way down. He was like, "Yo, you have a spirit of nature too, and that's cool. But your spirit of nature can't fly, and we're too high up for your Furioku to stop you. So you can try to do that anti gravity snow shit you could do, but you'll probably run out of energy before you hit the ground. So, sayonara," and just flies off. Like, whoa, what? Like, and with a bunch of people, like they said, 20 plus people probably on the back of his giant fire spirit, and he's just like Millie rocking away. He just does not care. He has no interest.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
ridiculous.
during this whole time, Yo's just chilling. Like,
Yeah.
he was sitting like cross-legged waiting.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, we're here. There's no going back. We'll figure it out.
I was Ryu because that boy passed out. He fainted. I was like, listen, if I was in his position, I'd have fainted too. I ain't gonna. I have a fear of falling, and they're falling to the planet. They didn't just fall like off the steps. They fell out of a plane. Yeah, I'd have fainted too. I ain't even gonna pretend. I'd have been night night.
All right. So, after the flex, yeah, needless to say, our heroes somehow, and I don't remember exactly how, but it's not that important. They managed to land. And the task at hand is to find the Patch Village where the Shaman King tournament is being held. And please correct me if I'm wrong. This is actually where we get our next significant amount of information about how. So now I can spaz a little bit more. So, they meet this woman called Lily Rara. And her ability, she's a shaman that basically like holds the memories of the Samoan tribe.
Yeah, Simona or something, Samoan or
Samoa.
something.
So-
Simanoa, yeah.
Yeah, Simanoa. So she holds the memories of that tribe from 500 years ago when they entered the shaman fight. Remember, shaman fight happens every 500 years. So, in these memories, we see she's saying like, she's blaming Silva, saying like, the Patch tribe is evil. This, that, the other. They're really just trying to create a shaman world, yada yada yada. And when Yo and gang look at these memories, because Silva can't be bad guy, and Horohoro, because I don't remember his sponsor's name, but he's like, nah, man, he's a good dude. I think he gave me food. And I could be making that part up, but I'm pretty sure it
He
was
said he was too
something along
ugly.
those lines.
He said he was too. I only remember
Yeah,
because he specifically said you gotta have a good personality if you ugly. I was like, you really going? What? You slid that man like that? Like you didn't have to roast him. You could have kept that to yourself. But he specifies. He was like, nah, he's ugly. He can't be evil. You only get one. You get one option. You get to be evil or you get to be ugly. And he chose ugly. I was like, damn.
Oh my god.
Like, Horror was wrong for that. I don't care what no one. That was
It was pretty rude.
screwed up. I was like,
Okay,
damn.
well, So yeah, point is the group doesn't believe that the Patch tribe is evil. So she's like, "Word, I'm gonna show you these memories." So in these memories, we see what looks like Silva, Yo's sponsor, basically soloing. What is it? 4 or 5? It was 5 because let's see, Horror,
It was
Yo,
fun
Rin,
because it was all the 5-man band
Yeah.
at that point, right?
right.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Yo,
Also, I don't know if
Horror,
it's literally 5.
Rin.
They're just 4.
It's the
at
ensemble.
that
You know-
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 at that point because it's
Actually, you're right. It is 4.
Ryu,
they'll get the
Horo, Rin, and fuck the 5th.
Oh.
I
Yeah, I
mean
get
that
you.
with every freaking fiber of my being, because once we introduce him shortly, I'm going to. I have some words about this.
Oh, I wasn't talking about him. I didn't count him.
You don't?
I know who you are counting, and I can approve of that 5th. But so, God, let me just backtrack a little bit because I got a little heated thinking about that person. So basically, like I said, we see what looks like Silva, soloing for shaman tournament contestants all trying to fight him at the same time. And then they notice the great fire spirit. And everybody's like, wait a second, hold up, hold up. Now I know that looked like Silva, but that's how. I swear to God, that's how. That's how.
Yeah.
No
He
ifs, no
also
ands, no
had
buts. That's how.
he also had the star symbol on his hand, which Hao has, which is like super
Yes.
important in like Japanese shamanism.
Yep,
Yes. Very,
it's the
very
five
true.
elements specifically. That's why.
Yeah.
Fire, water, earth, metal, and wood.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, um, he kills all of them. That's the end of their story, basically. Like, for the memory thing,
Can't
he
really get
kills
any
all.
more memories from that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
a
like,
nice way of putting it. He slaughtered them. They
I
did not
mean,
stand a chance.
I
Like
mean,
it
like
No
you
was.
said,
diff.
yeah,
Negative diff.
low.
It actually rested him to kill them.
I can believe that is the
I
worst
could.
part.
They were talking good, like talking cash. They're like, "Oh yeah, like
No,
oh,
we
you
gonna
guys
stop
tricked
you.
us, and we're gonna
Yeah,
stop you guys."
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and he's literally like, so I'm gonna he. Mm, let me just take a moment to spaz over this moment. He literally kills two people instantly. Like,
Hmm.
Ryu and Horo, like as they're doing, because they're basically tied to these spirits as they're experiencing this memory. It's like they see dude, and everybody's like, "Wait a second, that's how, ain't it?" And then Ryu and Horo, their spirits, dead. Like
Busted.
it was just, yeah, no, you're dead. Goodbye. Um, and then he proceeds to, all right, I'm gonna walk and do my little evil monologue a little bit, tell you about what I'm trying to do here. So here's what's gonna happen. Either you go and join me, and then either you go and join me, just imagine somebody literally like swiping to the left, and then Rin's spirit dude is dead.
Oh.
And he's like, so either you
Kinda.
go and join me, or you go and die. What's it gonna be? Oh, I live for honor. Okay, that's cool. Die. And that's the end of that. That's literally how that goes. Um, so yes, how? That dude, that guy, evil as hell, but that dude,
Man,
that
I
guy.
don't know. I
We
don't
now
know.
know.
By Yo's definition, how is an evil?
I
Is
really
something I
got to see.
is
I
something that
really want to see. Sorry, Senate. Go ahead, man.
I just wanted to say that, like, by Yo's own definition, how is not evil? And there has to be a reason for him to do these things.
Listen,
Does he? Can he
okay.
forgive him for what he's doing? No, probably not. But Yo probably still thinks he's a good person and wants to know what's up.
He
I'm gonna
does
be
say
clear
that
with
his
you though.
reasons, are the very least, are not good.
I do want to be clear with you though. I don't agree with you. Yo's very specifically like anyone who can see spirits isn't a bad person. And I'm like, bro, you already fought Faust, and you can't tell me that Faust is a good person. Now, I'm not saying he has never done good things. That's not what I'm arguing. Even the most evil person has capacity to do good things. So I'm not arguing whether he can or has done good things. But to argue that he is a good person, even if you want to say deep down, nah, G, nah, mm-mm.
I was just giving Yo's perspective so that the audience would
No, I
wonder.
agree.
And
I disagree with Yo. I disagree with him. Like that's just mm-mm.
I mean, he could
I
just be in
am
the middle
actually.
though. He says people that can see spirits are not inherently bad. Not that like they're only good or only bad.
I guess that's true. It just I don't know. Like Rin was one of the few exceptions where what his ideology was made sense because Rin actually tried, like, not only wanted to be redeemed, but tried to put forth the effort, however misguided, to be redeemed. But like, that's the one
I
exception. Pretty
I
much everyone else, I
really,
don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say I really want to see, because I know in the manga, or not, sorry, we're reading the manga, in the anime, um that kind of idea, not necessarily for Yo, gets lost, but it's like they never really go into, with Yo and How, kind of like what that is, if I remember correctly. So I'm actually, since we're doing this, read, I'm very interested to see whether or not Yo's ideology will continue to hold up as he finds out more about everything that's going on. That's all I was gonna say when I was intentionally interrupting Cynic. Um, but yeah, so after the memory thing is done, Lily Robber is like, okay, y'all aren't that bad. Here's your hint. Go get the fuck out of here. Um, and Hal shows up. Yes, we were just talking about the motherfucker. He shows up and is like, cool, you served your purpose, and die. And that's no exaggeration. He literally is like, cool, dead. Thanks.
Yeah, before
And
saying
goes on
that
about
that
his
was
merry
him.
way.
He's like, yeah, that was me 500 years ago. I was a patch. I got exiled. Get fucked.
So
It's like-
I think it's important to mention that how at this point in the story is such an enigma because so technically, and I do very mean technically because we haven't got deep enough into his story to understand every facet of his personality. Technically, Hao is also an ancestor of Yo. So
Not yet. Not yet,
well,
bro.
we kind of rolled into that pretty quickly because that's like
But that's
He was
something-
alive 500 years ago. He looks like Yo after a time skip. Come on.
I mean, that does come up basically like
Right now.
just a little bit
I was
after.
mentioning it.
'Cause I was just gonna say, I know that the I couldn't remember. Well, whatever. Gone ahead, man. Gone ahead.
But what I was going to say is that at this point, a couple of characters have been like kind of written out of the story for a period of time. That would be Manta and Anna. Anna gets like reintroduced for a period of time where she's talking to Yo's grandfather, and Yo's grandfather breaks down like, "Yeah, so your boy is actually our ancestor from 1,000 years ago. So not only was he a Japanese guy 1,000 years
to be
ago,
exact, is what he said. 1,005 to be exact. No, I was
He
just
did.
laughing because he did actually be like, well, 1,000 years ago, but 1,005 if you want to be exact.
I think that was when
Yeah.
the shrine was built.
Yeah.
But he did fight. This is Hao's third Shaman King tournament.
attempt, yeah. So
Which is
the reason
wild
I
to me that he's
mention
failed twice. Like, how do you fail the second time?
Well, the second time I'm sure
I'm
that
sorry,
they exiled him.
how
for
do you
the-
be how do you be how and fail? That's what I'm trying to
Well, see, he
figure out.
didn't fail the first time. The first time they had to basically sacrifice their whole clan
Oh, yeah,
to
it's
seal
not-
him away.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot
Like
about little
that
bit.
wasn't a oh he messed up somewhere down the line or someone defeated him 1v1. No, they had to be, that's why like there's only 5 people in their whole clan at this point because they had to sacrifice pretty much everyone in their clan to stop this dude. Like they said, screw it, bro, we throwing the whole gang at him. And he was still trucking. And then he said, screw it, I'm gonna reincarnate myself. And you ain't gonna do shit about it. I'm gonna keep all my memories. What you gonna do? Nothing. I was like, damn, okay.
They succeeded at sealing his demigod familiars away. That's and some of his techniques. It's basically
Man.
like
And his
what that
and his
sacrifice
original
is for.
body.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
And
to.
that's it.
I wanted to say real quick that is part of the reason that Anna was Anna was and damn, been playing too much Persona.
It's Anna
It is Anna.
or Anna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Anna.
It-
God.
it is
Either
Anna
one.
or Anna or whatever.
Either one.
It is the reason that Anna
Anna.
was like chosen as Yo's like betrothed. It is an arranged marriage by by his family because they want strong shaman blood to keep the tradition alive. And I just wanted to go over that because we're about I feel like we're about to talk about her some more, and she's pretty great.
Yeah, because she flexes really hard right there when those two spirits get out.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
even the grandfather's like, yeah, my whole oversoul would get his ass bent over. It would be taken to prison by these demigods. And
And
Anna
she
just within seconds is like, nah, we're gonna shut
bro.
that shit down right now.
She's
Show you how
got
this
the
works.
book of Hao's like magic basically in one hand, flipping through like so you do this and you do that and bam, got him dead.
Yep.
Literally hit him with the Yaga. Just Yaga and they're gone.
Like
And it's funny because apparently they're a part of Hal, and Hal was bleeding, and he was like, "Oh, hold up, somebody
I
can do that? Okay."
Whose
That
girls
might
is
be a
this?
little bit exaggeration on how Hal reacted because it was more akin to like, okay.
I did you
I
see
didn't
that
He
face?
was like, he appreciated it. He was like, "I didn't think anybody was around here who could do that." Like,
Yeah, but he wasn't like shook or nothing. He was just
Hang
like,
on.
Hold on, Justice
Have
is
you
pulling
seen-
up the panel, dude.
Did you see the face he made? When that
Let me
happened?
go back.
Chapter
Let me go
91.
back.
Chapter 91, page 1.
He said, I got it a lot, boy.
Hey, no, I can dig it. This is what we're here for.
So I'm just saying,
A lot.
that face.
Yeah,
He was
that
definitely taken aback.
yeah,
He looks
that
like
a
at
little, a
first.
little upset, at least. He shakes it off
he does shake it off.
when
but
that little girl like checks on him.
Yeah, that's true.
But like,
Is that a girl? I could have swore that was a little boy.
it is a girl.
It's a little androgynous. Let's put it like that and just leave it alone. That way we don't argue about it. Because
Well,
I think it's a little girl, but I'm not sure.
I have read-
I see the face you're talking
I
about.
have read the
I
whole
see the
series.
Face you're talking about.
She is a girl.
I see the face you're talking
Okay,
about. Yeah,
she is a girl.
That's,
Okay.
That's fair. Justice,
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. Because that face is actually pretty blood-curdling, especially considering who it's coming from.
Exactly.
I never
And that's
want
why
to
I
have that
was
man look
thinking
at me
of
like
speaking
wasn't
of
ready
that,
for that.
speaking of that panel. Oh, thanks for the follow, Blue Nano Gaming.
Thank
What's
you,
up,
thank you.
Blue Nano Gaming? We appreciate
What's up,
you.
man? Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Just don't let Hal
But-
catch you slipping. You know,
So,
you don't
like-
want him to look at you like this.
A lot of the so a lot of this art really reminds me of the early 2000s in anime, you know. But like that panels like that one, where he it gets super detailed and with the kind of stylization. Oh man, it looks freaking sick. Take for our audio listeners, you're gonna have to trust me on this one. But to anyone who might be reading along, that panel on chapter 90, panel 1 or page 1,
91, page 1.
91 page 1, man, that is
Yeah,
intense.
you never.
Almost like
Yeah,
that.
you never want to have Hal looking at you like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this from my memory. That's not a look that Hal gives often.
Yeah.
Because with honestly, Justice, I thought you were capping for a second, and then I remembered, and then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, you know, I if I was in that universe, I might actually like piss on myself if he looked at me like that.
You would because we actually see that. The guy you don't like got that look from Hal, and he was like, "Oh, let me sit my little ass down somewhere. Let me sit my ass." And that was after he killed this guy's parents. Like that's not like I want to fight this guy. He's strong, Goku shit or something. Like we're talking about this guy watched this guy kill his father and his mother, both parents, at the same time. They're both dead. And he's like, "No, you killed my parents." That boy looked at him like, "Sit your little ass down somewhere. You're too young
Man,
to
talk
catch
about,
this."
talk about
"You are
Sasuke
small.
being like
You are
freaking
too small."
traumatized. This kid watched his parents die.
And he literally told him, like, "You're too small. Sit your little ass down. I'll see you about something later on in your life." And the guy sat his ass down. He like he legit said, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. He right.
I guess
You got that one."
I guess now's the time to talk about him. He also shows up
Yep.
around like at this time while
Right
Anna's
after,
doing
yeah,
that shit.
because so we get introduced to the alleged fifth.
He's such a
Lisa.
bright little British boy. He wants to be a detective. He does
Filling out-
He's
dowsing.
the perfect little like British encapsulation, like stereotype.
Yeah.
I drink tea and eat crumpets, and I want to be a detective, and I live in high society, and I'm smarter than you.
Dad is a
Like,
detective. He's
So
when he's doing that wire shit, he summons Big Ben. His wires are in the shape of Big Ben. Like,
yeah,
He's
also,
so British.
It's a fairy.
yeah,
It's a fairy.
Man.
His spirit is a fairy.
a
If that
fairy-
doesn't explain it, it's a fairy pixie thing, Harry Potter style, bro.
A fairy?
Like,
named Morphine,
irony, right?
based on like the poppy flower. I'm pretty sure. 'Cause she's like, I think she's supposed to be like a flower spirit,
Yeah, you're right. She is.
Okay.
which is a little
So
fucked.
let me talk about this child, Lyserg, or Lyserg, however you want to pronounce it. I'm pretty
that
sure
one I
it's
don't know.
Lyserg. Well, I'm going off of memory from the sub and dub anime, but I'm pretty sure it's Lyserg.
Hey,
If
soon we'll
anyone
be
wants
able
to
to
correct me,
go on a new one.
I like Lyserg, but I'm not going to judge you on how you pronounce things, especially in a
That's
language that we don't speak regularly.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. So for now, I'm gonna say Lysurg. So Lysurg basically shows up and is like, "Hey, you guys are kind of awesome. I'd like to join your crew." Yeah, and everybody's like, "Yeah, now who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "I mean, I used dowsing to find you guys because you know stuff about the Patch Village, and I need comrades for my mission." And everybody's like, "Yeah, I really. Who the fuck are you?" And he's like,
Nakama? Nakama?
and so basically, like, everybody's like, "Yeah, nah, bro, like, this ain't the move."
Except for Yo.
Except for you.
Who's just like handshaking. Who's like, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Until Lyser decides to show his ass.
His
And
Big
it's
Ben.
Yeah, he basically attacks the party to be like, "Yeah, nah, y'all need me. I don't care what you think. I am useful, and I'm gonna show you just how useful I am." And so he, barring Yo, basically solos the crew, the three.
See, I didn't think Ryu fought him. I thought it was just Horo Horo and Ren that did it. I know Ren definitely got. Huh? Go ahead.
Both, yeah, I was gonna say Horror and Wrench for sure got their asses. They got caught slipping. I'm not gonna say they
Definitely
got
caught
their asses,
slipping.
yeah, I ain't gonna say they got their asses handed to them, but they definitely got caught slipping.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that yeah, nah, Ryu, the guy he would have fought. So I'm
Okay,
pretty
maybe
sure
he did
he
get beat.
did.
My bad. I wasn't sure because his whatever happened to him wasn't very memorable. Whatever
No,
I remember what happened to Horo Horo and Ren, but I don't remember what happened to him.
Nothing. I'm actually scrolling through it right now. He's just like shook because Lyserg just
Oh,
wrecks both Ren and Horo Horo.
Okay.
No diff
That's
immediately.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So Yo, seeing this, of course, he's like, "Yeah, now halt the fucking phone, bro. You was cool a minute ago, but what you doing right now? That fuck shit? Nah,
Yo's
you
not
can't join."
Yo's not about that senseless violence.
Oh,
So he's like, "Nah, I don't want you on my party, bro. Like, you on that fuck shit? Nah, I don't want to travel with you. Go on somewhere before I have to whoop your ass. I ain't trying to fight you, but you better move on before I do."
I'm gonna take these friends right here, these ones right here. I'm gonna go to the hospital, and I'm never gonna see you again. All right, bud.
It's more like, "I better not ever see you again." Honestly, it's like, I better not see you again, bro. Like, we
It's
might
on
be
site.
cool a second. Yep. And
he took that personally because he attacks Yo, and Yo was like, "Oh, that's funny." Insta defeat, just beats the guy, no problem.
Yep.
Just okay. That's literally what happens. Like, difficulty.
So something that happened like just before this, I feel like is funny, is that like Ren decides that they need a leader.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, obviously it's Yo. And everybody,
Yeah.
and he was like, "I am the strongest, of course, but I can't just think about myself. I have to think about others." And
Yeah.
I'm like, what a Lancer thing to say.
Like, yeah, he definitely specifies, like, yeah, if we win by strength, I will be the leader, obviously. However,
But I'm more
oh,
humble.
hey, jeez.
he's like, "I can give it to you."
Also, I'm more
Yeah.
humble than Yo. Clearly, I gave him the position.
Exactly. It's one of those undercut type of compliments.
Just before getting his ass handed to him because he got caught slipping.
Yeah, it was
That's-
like right before this, I think.
so.
Oh, that was funny.
It really was. But yeah, so Lyser doesn't take kindly to Yo basically kind of like being like, "Bitch, move, get out the way. L, you attack me. Still, bitch, move, get out the way." And Yo gives Lyserg this look that reminds Lyserg of when Hal gave him that "bitch, sit down, you too young" look.
You know those
yeah.
anime moments where I can only think about it in the Sasuke sense right now, But Sasuke's like looking at Orochimaru with the Sharingan, and he sees Itachi's shadow in the background. It's a lot like that.
Another, I think one that's better for me personally.
Okay, go off.
For me, is when Zatch Bell is looking at old boy who's stronger than him. I'm being very specific, and I'm sorry about my passion. This guy's stronger than him. He has been tearing Zatch Bell's ass up, and Zatch just gives him a look because he's about to defeat him and hurt Kyo, and he just gives him a look, and the guy just cannot fight anymore. Like, he's just looking at this guy like, if you take another step, I'm tearing you apart. Even though this guy's been giving Zatch his ass this whole fight, Zatch just gives him a look like, turn around, walk away. Man. That's all you. That's the only choice you have right now. And the guy turns around and walks away. That's what happens. I swear on everything. He was whipping Zatch's ass like Zatch was a toddler. Toddler gives this man one look. That dude says, "You know what? I think I left my oven on. Let me be back. I'm gonna be back."
A career to attend to.
Like, that's what it was like.
Yeah, mine was just a lot less niche.
What? You're right. But that's one of them moments in anime history I don't care if I don't remember anything else about that show. That one look, that's it. It's a wrap. That boy looked at him like, sit down somewhere, son, before you get knocked out like your father used to. That's what happened. Like,
damn.
And damn.
But yes, needless to say, Lyser takes exception to this look and decides this is when Big Ben comes out. He's like, you know what? You're pretty good, man, but I'm kind of pissed off. You just reminded me of some trauma. I'm about to hit you with the big dick. And I meant Big Ben.
An actual Big Ben this time, not a euphemism I was trying to say, but here you are making the joke.
What you talking about, man? I said Big Ben. So he whips Big Ben out, and he's like, yeah, I'm coming for you. And Yo literally shatters that shit. He's like, I'm not who you want to fight. Who you want to fight? Who is it that you like? You lost because. Can you guys hear me or did my audio go out again?
We hear you. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what he said. That's verbatim.
Yeah.
You didn't lose to me. You lost to somebody else, Chief. You was trying to fight somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat your ass too. Wait.
That's literally.
At that point, Yo decides, in typical Yo fashion, all right, man, I'll hear you out. And he does. Listens to the whole sob story that we just told y'all about. And,
it even cuts past that. We see his backstory before the fight. Yeah. And then it cuts to everybody accepting him and being like, oh man, that's so fucked.
Except for Rin. And I say that specifically because Rin's like, yo, I mean, that's sad and all, but I still don't want him on the team. I'll defer to Yo's judgment because we made him leader, but
which I respect. Man, I definitely respect.
Yeah,
Ren for that. You don't see that a lot in anime with rivals and stuff. Man, he's not the only one, but it's yeah.
Man, listen, I've been rewatching Digimon, which has a lot of these 5-man band roles filled a lot, very, very not subtly at all, and Ren is my favorite Lancer right now. In media that I can think of.
Yeah, he's more loyal Vegeta.
Yes.
That's pretty much
Yes, that nailed it right on the head.
I like Hiei too.
He's more loyal Hiei too.
Yeah.
Hiei's pretty loyal, but Ren's ride or die now.
Yeah. In very, very, very much in literal sense.
He has a horse.
Rin would die for Yo at the very least.
The only person I can compare him to at this point in recent memory is Yuno, but Yuno's not as angry and tsundere as Rin is. But that loyalty level, if anyone's watched Black Clover, it's on the same level as someone like Yuno.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I can dig it.
I need to read that.
But yes, so Lyserg ends up being the alleged fifth. If y'all are thinking that's the whole reason why I hate this guy, it's not.
No
Let's see.
spoilers, Chief. I ain't
I'm
seen
not.
nothing yet.
I'm
I'm
not. I'm
just
not. I'm
saying.
just saying. I really do not like Lyserg. I mean, even by the time we're caught up to the chapter 108, I have a whole nother reason why I don't like Lyserg, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm pass the torch to somebody.
He's got some edgy moments right there at the end.
Justice, you want to go next? You've been scrolling through some pages.
Yeah, actually, let's hear from Justice.
Yeah, well, after that, Horo decide they get to like the Rocky Mountains, and Horo's like, "Man, I want to go fucking snowboard because that's what he loves to do." And so he's just like goes off on his own. Everybody's like, "All right, we'll meet up with you after you're done snowboarding."
You got what? 3 days?
Yep.
He ends up
No,
taking
no.
3 days.
He said you have until the end of the day.
Yeah, but
That's
also,
that.
I guess before that, as they're like meeting Lyserg better, and they're like hitchhiking across the country with Ryu's magic finger, his magic thumb.
The legendary
He's the
hitchhiker.
legendary hitchhiker. They finally meet Morphine, this little like flower fairy spirit, and they're all like, "Oh my god, she's so pretty." And Horo's spirit, also a little girl, a Kokorokuri, like a little ice spirit lady, she gets jealous and like leaves, like stays behind. And so while he's like snowboarding around, he takes this huge jump, and he's like, "All right, Kororo, let's do this."
We're
Kororo?
Fuck.
Oh no!
Flash forward 3
Yeah.
days later.
Wakes up 3 days later,
Broken legs.
girl taking care of him, and she's just like, "Are you a poacher? Are you fucking doing shit?"
No.
And he's just like, "I'm just a boy."
I just want to be the Shaman King.
Which this was a moment where like it doesn't bother me. It does kind of take me out a little bit. Why can everyone converse with each other?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was wondering that
How
too,
are these
'cause this is
Japanese
America. We
boys?
didn't mention that. We didn't mention that they went to America.
How? Yeah.
So they're not in
Yeah.
Japan
Yeah,
anymore.
they
They're
flew
in
to
America,
America.
specifically.
Yeah, they're going to some
Yeah.
Native Americans.
That's right. They're looking for the Patch tribe.
And it is actually important because if we're gonna go there on that note about it bothering you, it's important to note that all of the contestants from the shaman fight literally came from around the world.
Yeah.
It was all
Yep.
in Tokyo, and now they've moved from Tokyo to America, and everybody's just talking like, "Yeah, Chief, what's up?" You know,
That's
like
kind
I
of
might
why-
be talking to.
That is kind of
Yeah.
why I made that Tekken joke earlier. Because everybody in Tekken can understand each other for reasons, even though like half of them speak English, a lot of them are native Japanese, and who knows what's going on there.
I mean, you
Couple
got
of them are
Chinese,
bears.
too.
India, like in all this other place, like you could just pretty much from everywhere. Like
Yeah.
I don't know,
But you know,
kangaroos,
language
bears,
barrier isn't a thing.
dinosaurs.
But the language barrier isn't a thing for whatever reason in Shaman King.
At all.
Yeah.
Not
it's
even a
just
little bit.
All can converse.
She's
We're gonna
like
go-
a park ranger in the middle of the mountains, so the chances of her speaking fluent Japanese is like negative. Like I'm not saying
exactly-
it's impossible, but
It's like
doubtful.
It's just as plausible as this like 14-year-old boy from the mountainous region of Japan speaking fluent English.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
mean, if we were to go with a headcanon route, the only thing that could make sense is that's just a shaman ability that they can.
I don't think it's that deep. I don't think he cared. I don't think he thought
No.
about that. And it's fine.
I'm gonna go with that. But I was just saying, if you wanted to try to make it make sense, the only thing I could think of that might make it make sense is it's some, insignificant shaman ability that they just never explain.
Which, even if
'Cause, I
you
mean,
tried to
even
do
with
it
the
that,
patch
it doesn't
tribe-
work with someone.
I mean, you're right. But I'm just saying, even with the Patch tribe, like, they are literally, clearly in America, and they flew out to Tokyo, Japan, talking to them, no problem. Just like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just
Patch, okay,
Patch
hold
was
on.
there.
With the patch, I can let that slide only because the patch tribe is the tribe, allegedly, that runs every single Shaman King tournament And as the fact that they have been having shamans from all over the world for, I'm assuming, thousands of
At least,
years.
at least 1,000 years.
So yeah, let's say just at least 1,000 years. If they've been running it for 1,000 years, they probably have had people learn and integrate into their tribe that speak other languages. I mean, fact of the matter is, Hal was one of them, and he had all his memories from his past life, so he definitely spoke Japanese. So I want to say with the Patch tribe, it's a little easier to explain away why they would be able to speak every language possible under the sun. Everybody else is just kind of like, just let it go. Like, that's where it comes down to for the creator. It's just like, it works.
Yeah,
And that's why I said, because I said so.
Yeah, he obviously didn't. It doesn't bother him. He doesn't. It doesn't mean anything to him. So it doesn't like. It doesn't ruin it. It just was one of those things where I was like, why can't they all just speak the same language?
Common.
Yeah, it's like aliens
Shaman
coming to the world and speak English.
Shaman King has one language and it's common.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's fair.
But
All right.
this park
continue,
ranger,
Justice.
her name is Bluebell. She,
Strange name.
I mean, she pulls a gun on the kid. First off,
Yep.
it's just like, are you a poacher? I won't
what-
let you go after Apollo.
The fuck would I do? I've got broken legs and I'm 12. Like,
Snowboard and no gun. Like, I don't know why you instinctively thought poacher when I have no weapon and a snowboard and I broke both my legs. Yeah, I'm definitely poaching everything up here.
But it comes out. She says that she drops the name Apollo, which ends up being this like grizzly bear that is missing an eye and has it looks like a moon crater where its eye was, so they call it Apollo. That her dad was raising when he was a park ranger, and they had to let go. And now she's just like trying to make sure that it stays okay, and she's trying to protect it because it's her father's legacy. And Horror was like, dude, that's nature. Humans are a part of nature as well. If he dies, he dies. That's the real world.
It's one of the deeper parts of the story, I gotta admit.
Yeah, horror man.
Not a lot of respect
I
for her
like
after that.
I like horror a lot.
Yeah, this part really, and I'm definitely gonna have to come back to this. Like, when we get to the end of the series, I know I'm building up to like a big horror moment, like a big horror rant, because the dude just gets better and better.
Yeah.
And this was one of those better points, honestly.
Yeah, and like
I mean,
He didn't really start off bad either. Like, that's the thing.
yeah.
He just hated the main character's name. That was literally his whole shtick. Was like, wow, yo sounds like a stupid ass name.
You
I'm
have
gonna
a-
beat his ass.
you have a-
That was like,
You have
That's
a
what happened.
He's like, you have a dumb name and a cute fiance. What up?
Yeah.
now I gotta beat your ass for that. And like, literally.
I just love that. Like, he's the comic relief, really. Like, he and
Yeah.
Ryu are the comic characters of the group, but he's also
That's fair.
like, the deepest character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rimby whipping his ass, though.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's
yeah,
true.
that's yep. They are Hiei and Kuwabara.
Yep.
That is their dynamic.
He whips out words more than he often. I'm not saying he never has defeated Kuwabara like in a comic moment, but I feel like Yusuke beats up Kuwabara way more than Hiei does.
That's fair. They just have that like
Dynamic.
Shut up,
yeah.
nerd.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean, Pipsqueak? Get out of my face, little midget bastard. And that's what it is.
But Horo, the goat, puts on his battle attire, takes his stuff, and sets down a cup and some sake and tries to reason out with this bear why he needs to go somewhere far away from people to stay safe. Like, he was like, let's have some peace talk, dog.
It was so good.
I do
Yeah.
think I have to, since we just pointed this out, I have to admit that it is funny that, all things considered, Horror does it in all seriousness. Just sits down and starts having a powwow with the bear. And the park ranger finds him and she's like...
Dude, she hits him with her car.
Yeah.
She's like,
We should have killed him.
You should have, but I mean, He's a shaman, so we'll give him. We'll give
Yeah,
it.
but
We'll
comics,
give it to him.
so.
But yeah, but she literally says she's like, "Why the fuck do you think you could talk to a bear?"
I mean, he also like immediately mentions that that's a part of his tribe's thing. That's their thing.
Oh no, I know, but I
Like,
just she in
Imagine
the
like,
story goes,
imagine just seeing a kid with a blanket, a bottle, a cup, and a bear just standing there. What would you do?
to be honest with you, I don't know because part of me is like that boy's crazy, but the other part of me is like I'm not gonna tussle with a bear, so I'm gonna let him hash that out. Like, I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
either he's gonna figure it out or he's gonna learn today. That's the two options he has. Because I'm not getting my ass whooped by no bear.
And you know what?
Like,
I mean, it
I'll have to.
Horo, he does both of those things.
You're right.
Yeah.
He does.
Because he gets pretty fucked up. He gets slashed a lot, gets hit by a car. But then, as soon as he calms the situation and gets that chick calm, and like has her stop screaming, the bear's just like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna lick your wounds."
It licks him. Oh, man.
It was so. Oh.
It was so beautiful, and then
Oh.
instantly
he gets shot.
sniped
Sorry, I had
by
to.
these fucking
I had to.
poachers.
Oh.
Yeah, because that shit hurt.
It big hurt because, like, again, we've mentioned this is a shonen. This is for 8 to 18-year-olds, and we're like, oh, of course, happy ending. And it, like, out of nowhere, just like, oh, okay, happy ending. He's licking him. They're gonna, like, have that. Wow, what? And everyone in the story is also like, what? Like, it is such a well placed like shot because I don't know how that could have been done any better and get you riled up. And you feel for that moment.
Man,
For the
I'm
bear,
riled up
for
right now just
everyone.
thinking about
I
it.
am too, but like it's crazy because like the moment gets even better for horror.
Yeah, 'cause
like I'm
he's just
actually
like-
gonna get on the bandwagon here for a little bit. I ain't gonna say the GOAT because you know who I think the GOAT is. But
He's so great. He's just like, are you
Yeah.
gonna take your prize? Like,
Oh man.
this bear died for you. Take your meat.
and they're like,
They're like, oh god,
they literally.
we're not going to jail. Bye. And he's like, so you
No,
just
hold on.
killed this bear?
I have to cut in. They specify they did it for amusement
Yep.
too. They
Well, that's
didn't
after,
just
That's
say.
after.
I'm just
Like,
saying.
he
Mention
insists-
that. Like,
No, I know, but he does insist to them, like, nah, for real, like, because even with the park ranger, he literally said to her, he's like, no, like, this is part of the cycle. At least his life is, again, like Justice said earlier, humans are part of nature. So him dying, even though it, like, you could tell it hurt him, he was like, well, if it's for a purpose, so take your prize. Like, he will not find peace if you don't, go on ahead and grab him. Like, you did it, take responsibility. And then they go to be like, nah, this was just for fucking fun. And Justice, you take it from here.
Yeah, that just, he pulls out that cool little like wooden stick that his sister carved for him. He has a sister. We didn't talk about her. She really doesn't matter. She's just his sister.
She's the person who attaches him to the world.
Yeah, like,
The person that he had to say goodbye to.
and that she also forced him through training, like Anna does to.
yeah, she's like his Anna, basically, without, like, it's his sister instead of his wife, though. That's
Yeah.
literally the difference.
But she
He
carves
beats him
him.
up and talks crap and everything.
Yeah, but she carves him this like special like religious like memorial thing. I don't even remember. They named it. I don't remember what it was called.
Neither do I.
But it's some important
I don't know.
like
Look it up.
it's some important thing for their tribe and their religion. But he turns it into an ice sword and just like
Bruh.
cuts all these like trees to flex on these dudes and like give them the fear and builds a bunch
God.
of ice just like
Oh, it was so good, dude.
yeah, just like wrecks them emotionally. But
Horror
doesn't
Horrors.
doesn't kill anyone?
That was, yeah, but that was a visceral moment for Horror. Like,
Yeah.
I felt his emotion through them pages. I'm just
And his principles. And his
Yes.
principles.
Yes. Yeah.
Almost that's almost, in my opinion, more important than his feelings, because his feelings are important. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but the fact that even in his anger, in his frustration, in his pain, he's still able to say to himself, this is the rules I live by. And because of that, even though I hate these people for what they did, I still have to follow those rules. Now, as soon as they fuck up and don't follow those rules, that's when he goes off on them. But at first he's like, I gotta admit, I'm pissed. But also, I live by these principles, and that's what I'm not gonna break those principles for anything, even my own pain and hurt. You know what I'm saying? And hatred for something. Yeah, so I think just feeling that, I'm like, damn, that's a man right there. Like, that's a boy, but that's a man. Like, you know what I
They
mean?
even say that like after when he comes back, he's like, Horohoro's become a man now, is I believe what is in the bubble.
I love it. He also just shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like sitting in
Yeah,
a cafe.
he
He's like, "Sup?"
like where the fuck have you been?
Yo, Ren won't playing that noise. He was like, "Yo, where the fuck have you been, bro?"
It's been like a week.
Yeah, and proceeds to beat his ass. So
It's true.
Also, I don't know if the mangaka forgot this or if we're just supposed to ignore this fact, but remember, the whole situation with the bear seemingly happens the same day that he broke his, well, not that he broke his legs, but the same day he woke up to learn that his legs were broken.
Yeah, and he just
So
walks
it's
out. He's like takes
Yeah.
his bandages off. And he's good.
Literally, because the person even tells him, you can't leave here with broken legs. Like, they mention it, like, in the story. And so the fact that that in that same night that she has the conversation with him, that's like, your legs are broken, you're not going anywhere. He's like, LO, okay, and just leaves anyway.
I think we've already gone on the fact that Foryoku can heal injuries though.
I didn't know
I don't
that,
remember
actually.
coming.
Okay, I feel like that's what the doctor was doing. Especially when they fell off the plane. He said he was going to take morphine so he didn't feel the pain, and then use his energy to like heal his body afterwards, so he didn't have to deal with like.
I thought he was
falling.
just doing doctor
okay,
stuff.
but that's also like Faust too. Like,
Yeah, and
That's
Faust
why-
kind of explains it in a very specific way that is specific to how he does it, where it's like, bones heal within this time, muscles heal within this time. So if I just cut out the middleman and put my bone back in, and then rapidly, like put my
Apply the
Frioku and my
Frioku
mushroom,
in.
yeah, then it will just attach my muscles to the bone because I already control the bone itself. So it's like, yeah, but like
I don't
kind of,
know.
I don't know if it applies to everybody in every situation.
Yeah, it also could have just been a like thing where he didn't care enough about it. It just feels something that is plausible enough for me to believe that shamans who have Foryoku can just, passively heal themselves as they go about the day.
I could dig it. I could believe it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I agree.
I-
That makes sense.
And then after
I think
Horror
Yeah,
comes
go
back,
ahead.
they just go on to their actual destination. It
pretty much, yeah.
was just a
Yeah,
nice little
which brings
roadblock.
Yeah, which brings us to I think our next decent fight, right?
Yep.
And Jin, since he's kind of your spirit person, I'm gonna let
much,
you take
yeah.
this fight.
Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna sit here in front, dude. Like, this moment in the story for me, as far as battle goes, is really impressive. Not because, oh, this is the single best fight, or this is the most, like, visceral thing we've seen. Just because, like, he goes from, oh, Ryu, I'm the kind of funny guy, and I help out here and there, to like, no, this is my fight. And so you get introduced to some of Hao's lackeys, and one of them is a quote-unquote, and I say that very specifically, vampire. And so they're over here like, nah, dude, you can't be a vampire. First of all, the sun's up. All right, we watched enough JoJo to know that you die if you're a vampire in the sun. He's like, nah, dude, that's not true. And so this guy bites. How do we say we pronounce his name? Lyserg. Okay, so he bites him, and he's like, okay, that means that I get to turn you into a vampire now.
I'm gonna call
And so
him
it's
the British
like-
kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I'm not
British
even
kid.
mad at you because I don't care about him. But continue.
He
Man.
gets bit, and so he's like, oh, now that he's a vampire now, and I get to control him. He becomes one of my lackeys. But he also has the oversoul that controls blood. Okay, and he has a earth spirit that was a vampire hunter. So the pieces are starting to get placed on the table, and he's like, okay, I'm a vampire. I'm going to control you guys. I'm going to control blood. I'm going to hurt you. Now, I do want to be clear because Cynic just mentioned this. This guy can like definitively heal himself with blood specifically because that's his oversoul. I do want to be clear that he just brought that up, and this guy can heal himself with blood. I do want to be clear about
Man,
that.
he absorbs that one guy.
You're
Yeah,
right.
he
Like,
was
just
the one guy
he
completely.
brains it.
He did the villain thing where, like, they talked. They said, "Oh, this guy looks more like Dracula." He's like, "Oh, really?" And then he, like,
He just stabbed him.
He stabbed
and then he absorbed him.
Stabbed him and absorbed him. And he's just
Yeah.
like, "Well, now Dracula's name will not be tarnished."
So
Literally.
Like, that
in
was
this-
cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, I love how literally his comrades are like, I mean,
He was the weakest, so.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Who
Literally.
cares?
He was so weak he didn't deserve a name or what his abilities were or what his ghost was. He didn't get to put up a fight. He just died.
he
Oops.
looked like Dracula, served for that pun.
And then he died. And that's it. That's the end of it.
And he died for it.
Literally.
Yep.
But the reason that's important is because this guy, and I believe his name is Boris von Tepes or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
And so he takes on the name of Dracula, and we're just going to call him that to make it easier. This Dracula cat attacks the whole crew. He's like, I can take you all by myself. I'm a vampire. I can control you guys. I control blood. Y'all aren't going to be able to stop me. Well, at this point, he looks like he can teleport and attacks Ryu from behind, looking like he takes out Ryu. Then he is controlling Old Boy, so that stops Yo from being able to fight. And he seems to have them on the ropes. And then Ryu stands up and he's like, I'm tired of this BS. Okay, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of this. And he stops the guy from being able to attack him again. He's like, nah, you thought that was going to work again. And they explain, like, oh, he controls blood, so he's able to turn it into a certain type of mist that blocks our vision, so it looks like he's teleporting. And then they start breaking it down, like, wait a minute. He's not controlling him because he's a vampire. He's controlling him because his ghost possessed this guy. So it's like, he's not a vampire, he's just an asshole. Really, like, is what it comes down to. Like, I'm just being, am I wrong?
No, you're
Like-
not wrong, but I do want you to highlight
That was just a very great explanation of his power set.
Like,
that really was. But I want you to give Bokuto no Rio a little, just give him a little bit more, because he does have that whole moment where he's like, bro,
wasn't
all
done
right,
with him.
no more.
I wasn't done with him. I
Okay.
wanted to say why what's about to happen works the way it works, because it's like it's
All right.
important to mention how it goes down. So, they've discovered this person's ability. He's kind of pissed now. He's like, all right, fucking, I'm about to take all you guys out. And he's like, nah, it's just about to be me and you, because the wooden sword Ryu is back. That's it. I'm ready to go. And he takes his hair, puts it back into the pompadour, and he's like, it's about to be a wrap now. And so the guy's like, nah, dude, you forgot. I can control blood. And he creates these blood pillars and all this other stuff. And the whole crew's like being held hostage, quote unquote. And Ryu's like, no, I'm going to catch a couple of these. Everybody basically breaks the blood, and it's 101 now. It's like, nah, I'm going to use all my power. You're going to use all your power. And they go into Ryu's backstory, and Ryu's like, yeah, this is how I trained. I went all the way to the mountains. I stayed in, like, was drowning. I almost died from falling. And when I made it to the top, I was trained by Yo's grandfather. Let me show you what I could do. And he took out this wooden sword that was made from the tree of the mountain where Orochi was killed by Susanoo. And so now this stick turns into Orochi. And he just starts stabbing this man with a bunch of, like, Hydra heads and shit. It's ridiculous. Like, this dude went from basically whack, no oversoul, baby oversoul, to just a 7-head, 8-head serpent dragon thing and just kills more. Like, he goes in on this man, and it's not even a contest. Like, he Boris does not stand a chance. He went from basically holding the whole team hostage to just, nah, you're done.
Well, I would like to just because it's a little
Go ahead.
thing for me.
Go ahead.
Mostly because it makes me dislike Dracula that much more. He
Mhm.
uses Lyserg as a hostage once he realizes, like, okay, look, Ryu ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not liking this. I might have bit off a little bit more than I can chew because I'm already struggling with just this Ryu cat, and there's still other people. So I'm gonna have Lyserg stab himself if y'all don't just let me beat up on you.
I
Mm-hmm.
have to ask, did you do it on purpose?
Who?
Oh,
S-
Rio. When I
The
said Rio, no,
no, the joke. He
no,
said
I
bit
I
didn't
don't
do
off a
it
know.
on
little more than
purpose.
I can. Dracula bit off a
Oh,
little more
because
than he can
oh,
chew.
okay,
Oh
yeah, okay. No, I
wow!
didn't notice that either.
Dang! Oh wow! That's gonna be a highlight right there. I can already
I
feel it.
nope, no, it's not. I'm in control of this. This whole part's getting deleted, actually.
Oh
Yeah,
Mutiny,
shit!
peer
mutiny.
peer
We're about to take this
pressure.
man out.
Yeah,
No,
let's
I'm kidding.
veto that. Let's veto that. Let's veto that. We have that power.
Oh man, that whole moment where you're talking about that, like Yo and gang is basically like, yeah, we're gonna beat this guy for sure. And I want to say that because they definitely make that apparent. That for sure part was the moment where everybody was like, okay, it's done.
Say
We don't.
less.
That's literally what happens. And Boris doesn't understand because Boris, and they make this apparent, you don't have friends, you don't have allies, you don't have people that care about you. So you don't get it when people say, like, I got your back. That's what the for sure was. Like, Yo said for sure, and everybody just knew what to do. That was it. They just knew exactly where they needed to be. Freaking Amidamaru, even Amidamaru was like, okay, now that you're distracting Boris, I'm gonna convince this ghost to stop fighting on your side, and he does. And then it's like, yeah, you just didn't get it. You didn't get it because you're not that type of person. We've worked together for this long. We have each other's back, and we know when Yo says for sure. I mean, it's already a done data. Like we knew what to do. Like, and it was a cool moment. Like, definitely.
So more into Yo because right after Ryu beats Boris's ass, Boris is basically in the typical shonen KO position. And
After
at this
killing a
point,
man,
wait, what?
he killed a man earlier, like a chapter or so ago,
Yeah,
and now he's
Boris definitely
just knocked
killed
out.
multiple people.
Like,
Yeah,
get wrecked, scrub.
yeah. But yeah, so Yo is literally like, and if you, whatever, I'll keep going. Yo literally is like, all right, well, he's been defeated, and then the X-Laws show up. Okay, and I don't remember the exact sequence of events, so just you guys can correct me if I tell it wrong. But basically, Yo's trying to go up to talk to Boris and be typical Yo, and like, you don't have to be a shit person, just so that you know.
Octo
Um,
Jutsu, if you will.
yeah, yeah. Before that was a thing, um, and in either in the middle of him being like, yo, you don't have to be such a dick, you could actually like be a good person, the X-Laws show up, and they show up and just straight off the bat, oh, look, one of Hal's henchmen, bam, you're dead, no questions asked, no fucks given. And
With their
Yo takes
freaking
exception to that
their freaking angel oversouls.
with
They're like,
guns.
yeah, they
They're
have guns.
mechs. They're Gundam angels.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
Like,
pretty
when I say that,
ridiculous.
I mean that very specific. Like, they're definitely robots. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They have guns, and then the X-Laws themselves, they use their oversouls on guns and
Two of
artillery.
those guys had like
And
rocket launchers.
that's why I said and artillery.
Like-
Like, I meant to say it that way.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Wild.
so one of my least favorite groups show up again, the X-Laws. And basically their whole thing is we all from very various different circumstances are here today because fuck Hal. Like, I don't care about their background. I don't care about nothing else. But fuck Hal. That's why that is our binding agent for this group. Fuck Hal. And everybody that has anything to do with them. And yes, they do have different like experiences, like the backstory we talked about with Lyserg. They do literally say, yeah, we all lost something to Hal, basically. Um, and they're about to basically hunt down the other group people or other henchmen of Hal. So let me think. I'm trying to remember how this happens exactly.
So
I
Yo
think
isn't
Yo
having
and
it.
Gang.
Like Yo's like, you
Yeah,
can't just kill people. And Lyserg's just like, but they're evil. It's cool. Murder them all.
this is where I begin to take exception with Lyserg.
That's a pretty big
so
red
that-
flag. Just gonna head put that in the
Mhm.
field. It's as red as it
up to this
gets.
point, yeah, I was gonna say up to this point, Lyserg actually was kind of okay after being an initial douche nozzle. He was starting to. It's like okay, he's part of the group. He might actually be all right, and I can kind of dig this detective thing. And then this fucking happens. Continue, Justice. I just had to get that in.
No, I wasn't. What was I saying? I was just. He said they fucked. They're just like, it's cool. And then Yo's like, well, I'm gonna stop you guys. Cause, yeah, no.
You mean to tell me you're on his side? No, fuck your side and fuck his side. You know what? I want to be Shaman.
And then the
I mean,
leader.
that's basically what happened because X-Law guy's like, wait a minute. We came in here and helped you, which is not true. That was one of the things that pissed me off because this guy Boris was already down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like, he's like, and it wasn't even one of those anime like, oh, you turned your back on me, now I'm gonna jump up and attack. No, the guy was subdued. It was very specific that he was subdued at this point when the guy killed him. So he didn't save Yo. There's no way where you can kind of lean on this guy's side where it's like, yeah, Yo, he was defeated, but the guy tried to attack you or something. Nothing like that. The guy was subdued, and the guy just came out of nowhere and he's just like, "Pal, you're dead. Sayonara, Chief." And that literally, Yo's like, dude, we can't be doing that, bro. Like, you didn't help me. You killed a man, and I don't stand for that. And the guy's like, all right, well, I understand, but we're gonna leave now. And Yo's like, no, you're not gonna leave. I'm about to like fight you
Well-
and explain to you why that's wrong. And the guy's
Well-
like, you don't want that problem.
okay, so basically, I'm gonna just kind of touch up on this because now I remember what was going on. So basically, like that happens, like Jin said. Yo took exception to that, but the X-Laws are like, well, you know, we're here to protect the weak, and we're allies of justice, basically. As long as this, oh, irony of ironies, we're allies of you know all that is good and right, and fuck how. We'll show you. We'll help you guys get to the Patch Village, basically. And so, Yo's gang, X-Law gang, they're going through this like I think it's a maze, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is like a kind of maze thing.
Well,
yeah.
Yo's sword gets
So they
broken
got-
before that. That's pretty important.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
His sword gets broken.
It's like
with
By
the
the X-Law
football
guy.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't
but
go down
that's
there
what
with
the
the
foot-
X-Law, I don't think. I think the
they
X-Laws go
do.
before them.
Yeah, they go before them, but they're literally like X-Law group, Yo's group tailing slightly behind. Because Lyserg this whole time is like, I don't think these guys are that bad, actually, you know. And I mean, I kind of like them a little bit, like. And he could tell that Yo was bothered because Yo that whole time, like his whole thing was like, where Yo's sword gets broken is when because I don't remember who defeats the football guy. I think it actually was one of the X-Laws that beat the football guy.
You're right,
It
because
was
that was
all
the
of
second
them.
person they killed. That was the second person they killed, and he was like, you know what? That was
Well,
the
they
second
didn't-
person you
they
killed. I'm
didn't-
not.
They didn't kill him. They tried to.
Oh, okay, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
And yeah, that's how Yo's sword gets Harusame gets broken because like Yo literally was like, "All right, man, I couldn't do shit about you killing Boris, but I'll be damned if I sit here and watch you do it again." So, nah, I ain't here for it. And dude was like, "Really, really, you gon' you see that you have no chance. All right, bro, I'll let you live on the counter. Let's get the fuck out of here." That's basically kind of like how that went. There are more details, give or take, but like that's basically how that went. Yo was like, "Yeah, nah, this ain't going down. I had no choice with Boris because you kind of came up out the woodwork, and I didn't have a chance to really realize what was going on. But I'll be damned if I let you do it again." So
Yeah, but all that happens before they go down to the maze.
okay, it must be the entrance to the maze that they're doing that thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, okay, cool. That works. I was just like, I know they moved. They move a little bit somewhere. They show them walking. I just don't know how far they got. But yeah. So that happens. Um, of course, Lyserg opens his big fucking mouth and is still on that like, well, they're house henchmen, so they're evil. And that's when Yo's basically like, look, if this was one of my favorite parts with Yo in terms of his like ideology. So he points out to the X-Laws, he's like, look, if you just go around killing people, you're no better than Hal.
Yep.
And it's like clear that Yo doesn't like what Hal is doing, and he's like, I mean, so if I gotta stop you two, let's go. Um they don't really end up fighting. I think the X-Laws just are like, you know what, you're a waste of time. Let's go. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
No, that sounds
I
right.
think
That
there's a
sounds
mini
right to me.
scuffle as far as like Yo kind of attacks him and he like shoots and then it breaks Yo's sword, but that's it. There's no actual like confrontation. It pretty much ends with that.
Yeah, and Yo's just like, oh, well, damn, my sword's broken. I guess we'll just fix it. It's too late to be worried now.
Yeah. And at this point, they enter the maze with the football dude in tow. And the reason I'm clarifying that they do bring him in tow is because he feels the need to repay the debt once they get into the maze. He tells them a little something about the maze. If any of you remember what it is that he said that was of significance, please say something about it because I don't remember exactly what he said. But
Just that you have to follow your soul. Like, their souls are what is leading them through there, to trust their soul.
okay, so there you go. And then he's like, my debt's paid. I'm gonna be, fine. Like he's like dying or whatever, and then he like passes out. He doesn't die, but he passes out. Like after being like, I'm good, I'm strong, ha 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 ha, I'll be fine. Pass out. Um, so we don't really see exactly what happens, but basically, like, they kind of follow their path, I assume. They just kind of go where they're going. Then they end up passing out because of something that happens with where they see the Great Spirit. What is it? The
They
Great
have a
Spirit
vision.
benediction? Is that what it
Yeah,
was?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and it makes them have a vision. I just wanted to be clear because like they all have that faint happening, and then once they faint, they have like a vision of their own of how like
Oh, it's so
I
funny.
guess a spirit vision, spirit journey type situation.
Yeah.
And then that's how they kind of get introduced to the Great Spirit before they physically see it.
hmm But everybody except for Ren anyway, which we find out after the fact of Yo
Big Nut Ren
having
over here.
yeah. Um, and I'm gonna let somebody else take it from here because I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
that's
think.
basically the end,
That's
isn't
basically,
it?
yeah, they
Yeah.
explain
Well,
what the
there's
Great
one
Spirit
other
is.
thing. I was
Yeah.
just about to say they do explain at this point that the
Oh
Great
yeah.
Spirit is basically everything on the planet. So the Great Spirit is an amalgamation of all animals, all plants, all people, all things. And when a person takes on and becomes a Shaman King, they take on that Great Spirit. They take on the spirit of everything itself, which is why they can create one like great fortune or great despair for anything because they would control all things basically, like maybe not individual people's thought processes, but like they would manipulate the planet itself.
Man, I can't help but be thinking about Persona right now.
Yeah.
Dang. Thanks for that.
I
I was actually not, but now I know why. It's not even hard to connect the dots, so that now I'm gonna be like thinking about it too.
And that's pretty much it.
that is what happened.
Then they're like,
Yeah.
all right, congrats, you made it through the first
Yeah,
part.
we even got it into the like all the themes as we were going chugging along.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now there are some things I want to take a moment to continue spazzing about how real quick. Um, oh, one more important thing before I even get into that. Lyserg goes missing, and that's all I'm gonna say because Ryu is all listen. Yeah,
They do
this
mention that. I almost forgot that.
lightsaber. Yeah.
That's
So,
a little time we spent with him. I'm
mhm.
sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't even
So
remember that until you just said
Yeah.
it.
right. So yeah, that happens. But pretty much otherwise, now it's time for me to like just kind of ooze on Hal a little bit. This man is just. Oh wait, there's one moment I have to give Anna props.
Oh
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
I meant to bring that
I
up.
have
Crap.
to
Go
give
ahead.
Anna, bruh. So we've clearly talked about how is that dude. There's no really like argument there. So Manta and Anna, after doing the whole thing with Yo's grandfather and dealing with the demigods and all of that stuff, um, they come to America to deliver the book to Yo. Now, Hal being the omnipotent, I because really he's basically omnipotent. Omnipotent person that he is, he knows what's going on. He knows apparently where they're going to show up. And when Matza and Anna land in America, he's waiting for him. And he's like, "Oh, hello, Anna. So you're the one that destroyed my demigods. I'm pretty impressed with you. Yeah." And Anna in typical Anna fashion is like, I mean, yeah, what of it? As to be expected of the Shaman King's wife, and I like how Hal did this. He's like, I mean, yeah, you're right. That is to be expected of the Shaman King's wife. I like you, and
What's good, Ma?
pretty much, Hal starts trying to holler at Anna, and Anna about to slap, like literally raises her right hand to slap Hal, and for the first time, it is important. Like all a joke note, but it's still important to note. Anna, anytime she has hit somebody up to this point, it is a hit. Okay, there is no like, oh, I dodged, or oh, she missed somehow. Every time Anna raises her hand to slap somebody, it's just you might as well just accept
GG.
your
I
luck.
could hear it come out the page, man. I could hear it come out the page.
That But yeah, so Hal catches her hand because she goes to slap him because I don't remember what it is that Hal said that
Oh
annoyed
god,
her.
it's the
She's
anti-gag.
yeah, and she's everybody is shook that sees this. Like Manta, of course, but Manta is Manta. No offense to Manta, but like he's
Monta.
got no power. Yeah, he's got no power. So like Anna him but he says nobody's ever stopped Anna slap before. And how does it casually? He's just like and then he compliments her like, yeah, you got some spunk. I like that. And da 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 da. And she's like, "Oh, okay, word. But you forgot one thing. That left bah!" And slaps in the face, bruh. The meanest left, the meanest left, and how like you see it left a mark on him, and he's like, you know what, I like you even more. You got some spunk, girl. Yeah, go on ahead and get that over to Yo, but yeah, you deserve to be the Shaman's King wife, all right.
Wait, but we forgetting the fact that he specified something else. Okay, because we specified nobody's dodged or protected themselves from her hit before. But he said, ain't nobody hit me since my mama.
Yeah, he did say that.
He said it just like that. He said it just like that. Like, and that's not me paraphrasing. I know I like to, use hyperbole from time to time to make things funny. Nah, in the story, it is exactly said, ain't nobody hit me since my mama. Don't nobody do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like he made sure you knew what was good.
That means Anna scales to how clearly.
I
I don't know. I feel like let her hit him, like, and not necessarily like he's seen it coming, but one of those things where it's like, okay,
Oh
like
man,
she hit me, and that's cute.
I got,
More than it was like
I
she
got,
could have beat his ass, or even compared to him in any capacity.
I got to work on my sarcasm voice apparently.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was about to say, hold up,
Apparently.
son, because Hal would have ended her if he wanted it. If he wanted it, that boy, that boy Hal's crazy.
so oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, but back to spazzing on how a little bit.
Yeah, that's the word you want to use.
Yeah, because I
Anyway.
mean,
A little more family friendly than the
yeah,
alternative.
Given the gawk, yeah, I got you.
yeah,
This stream has an 18 up barrier.
it does. But I mean, like seriously though, like how I love how I love how because like I loved Yo and I still love Yo. Like don't get me wrong, I love Yo. Like he's a great protagonist, but how being literally just like Yo and everyone acknowledges it. Like even in the story, it's like yo, it's like they're the same person, not just looks in the way they carry themselves, but it's like how carries himself like yes like Yo but like with so much more confidence it's ridiculous. Like the man is not worried about anything.
But when is
He's
Yo ever
literally
worried about anything?
No, let's put it a different
I
way.
feel like
I think you like
confidence
him
isn't the
because of the
word.
swagger. I
well
say
yes but
swagger is what it is. And here's why I say swagger. Because where Yo has confidence in himself and, don't worry about a thing type attitude, it's a little bit different for Hal in the fact that it's a foregone conclusion for Hal. He has mentioned multiple times he is a king, not I will be king
he's
or
like
this is
you are
good for a
speaking to
person that
decide the
would be
king.
king. Exactly. Like it's a foregone conclusion that this is his destiny. Doesn't matter how many times he has to keep trying. This is his destiny. He is a king. There's no question. So I feel like it's the swagger more than it's just confidence because I feel like obviously they both have confidence. Even Anna or Anna has confidence. There are multiple characters that have confidence in themselves, but he just has a certain swagger and a certain just like I'm that shit. I'm that dude. You can't stop me. I know what's going on. I know everything because I'm a king. I can do everything because I'm a king, and I know everyone like everything. Like it's really crazy. He even I want to say even calls himself omnipotent at one point. Like he like literally jerks himself pretty hard. Like,
I
and I
Man,
mean
mean, not that he can't back it
he
up.
might
Not
have,
that he can't back it up,
he
but I'm
might,
just saying.
he might
that's what I
have.
was gonna say.
Dude might have as much ego as like Gilgamesh.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's
This,
like that. It's like that.
like, yeah, I would definitely agree with a more like swagger and even like swagger combined with ambition. Because
Exactly.
like, yeah, Yo has an ambition, but his ambition is to not be able to not have to do anything.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Hal's ambition is to create an exclusive shaman world, basically. But
A
like,
eugenic, a
huh?
eugenics one because it's like not any old shaman can get in either.
That's
Apparently,
true.
he said,
That's
"Oh, you
true.
whack shaman, yaga." Like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, damn.
All right,
I
So,
just go
yeah.
ahead.
guys, we are going on like we have gone on the third hour.
Hmm.
We the street like us talking will have started in 6 minutes for 3 hours after this. So I think it's a good place to wrap it up with the ratings for the reading. I'm gonna start with you, Jin.
So that was a hard like 20 chapters to get through. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said before, on top of the fact that I was doing other things all week, I was sweating, bro. I was
Man,
sweating.
you had four.
I, so a- after that, it starts getting good, especially into the tournament. So it's kind of like a seesaw effect because it's hard at first, but then after that, that tournament starts, especially the latter half up until the end of those 108 chapters. It's fantastic. So I'm gonna give it a 7, maybe 7.5 at maximum, just because I don't want to oversell how much that tournament weighs in comparison to the beginning. Because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised that some people just never got to the tournament because of how long it takes for you to get sunken into the story for those first 20 chapters. 20 chapters is not a small amount to have to get through to get to
Their
the good
chapters
stuff.
are kind of
I don't know,
long.
man.
Exactly. So I 7.5 at maximum is what I gotta give this one.
All right, What about you, Sek?
All right, so I do have to admit the first 20 chapters were a little bit difficult. I don't think I had as much trouble with it as Jin, um, just simply due to previous exposure, is how I'm gonna phrase that. Um, but even then, for the first reading, like, because I've never read the manga before, um, I actually, despite the slow burn at the start, despite the slow start, I actually think I'm gonna give this an 8.5. Like, the slow start, for all of the things that it does for the rest of those chapters, because it sets so many things up, especially about Yo and Monta's relationship, Yo's personality, Yo in terms of like how Yo views the world, views spirits, and how that, plays such a crucial role to him, and just even pushing forward in the story. I can't really fault the first 20 chapters enough for it to thing less than an 8.5.
All right. What about you, Justice?
I think I mean I have a lot of the same grievances as everybody else has had, but I did not enjoy those first like 20 to 30 chapters until Oversoul started happening. I was just like, oh, this is so slow and boring. And then it gets pretty fun, but I don't think it really like it's great until they get to America. So
Yeah,
like
fair. That
I
is fair.
I agree.
I think I'm gonna give it like a 6.5.
Mm.
Bitch. Like it's good. It's fine. I also have the benefit of knowing what's coming, and I know how much better it gets. For me.
Well, yeah.
So,
I am
Yeah.
literally trying to just like do this almost like, all right, yeah, I do have previous exposure, but like, first reading.
So, remember how we joke about Justice and I being like the same person?
This is not the case today, I believe.
I actually was going to give this. I'm actually giving this also a 6.5 for very similar reasons.
Really? Wow.
Wow.
Well, hear me. Like, I came in with no expectations. I score a 5 as average. Like, a 5 is a time that I can just do the thing. And anything above that is an amount of enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I don't think it got super great until we got to America. And it was hard for me to read, especially, like, I had to push through that first 20 or 30 chapters. That and it also being, like, really dense and super lore heavy, as, like, just a person who has trouble reading sometimes. I don't know. It's hard to strike the right balance with my vision for words and for words and images, because there are sometimes harder things to like comprehend, like when you're looking at the art, and then there like too much density in the words can be too overwhelming. But like between all those factors, it's just like 7 is something that I feel like I genuinely at least enjoyed and would consider rereading again. And right now, it's not at that point yet.
That's fair. I think I just like how so much that,
I figured.
because now I'm thinking about it. We did discuss like the breakage of immersion, but when I think about all of the reasons why I'm so hyped is because Hal got introduced, and for me that's like I'm just like, yep, Hal's here. He's here, thank God.
I was here, but
It's
like
for me. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like the amount of how that we have gotten so far, I don't think is enough
To justify
to
an
really be
8.5.
like to wank him super hard. Like I agree. Next reading, I'm gonna be with you.
I
So,
think,
just real quick, I'm sorry. For me personally, I like taking How off the table because I understand the hype for How. I agree with Justice. I don't think he's done enough. Like he's done some stuff, and it's really cool, and he gets his cool moments in. He gets his I'm a badass moments in. But right now, it's still kind of all talk in comparison to what he can do. And so taking him off the table, one of the things that I will have to say is that I understand where Cynic's like, I don't want to reread the whole thing, and that's fair, but there are definitely portions that I will never not like be able to reread. Like the one with Horo Horo and the bear.
Dude,
The one where
Horo
Ryu's
Horo,
fighting Boris.
Horo
and so
Horo
on and so
was the
forth.
highlight for this reading for me. Like, if I were to pick a few chapters, an arc, just one arc to read, it would have been that one.
So
That's why I'm saying, like, if I can reread even portions of it, I think it deserves at least a 7 or a 7.5 because, I mean, I'll never forget, in my opinion, I'll never forget those moments. There are specific moments in this group of chapters that I'll never forget, and I will literally love those parts. So, as much as it, like, I had to shove down those first 20 or 30 chapters, however many you want to say, after you get past that milestone, after you level up, let's say in RPG terms, everything comes a lot easier. Okay, everything just starts falling into place. And again, like Sek said, some of the stuff that, although I agree the immersion was frustrating, it was one of the things I brought up. Some of the plot points, the seeds that are planted about people's personalities, about people's ghosts that they eventually get, and about how the powers work and stuff, I think does deserve some props. That's the only reason I have to give it a 7 or a 7.5 because there's so much there.
so I think I do have to, like, so here's how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give my rating, the 8.5 is my rating with the hype for How. And again, that is because I know a little bit about what's to come, and I've seen How in action because I've watched the anime. If I take How off the table, if I take my hype for How, because I know Justice knows this. I don't know if Kevin and Cynic and Jin know this, but How is literally one of my all-time favorite villains in anime. Like, I love him that much. He's got so much swagger, like Jin said. If I take him off the table, then it is a 7. If I take my hype for him off the table, then my rating is a 7. A straight 7.
So I think I think this is funny. So it seems pretty consistent, in my opinion, over the course of these last couple weeks, and I do think that we've done enough videos for this to be a running theme. It seems like Cynic and Justice typically have pretty consistent opinions. I'm not saying they're always verbatim the same, but it seems like you guys lean to a closer direction, and it seems like me and Sek seem to lean, like, I think it was really apparent during the Biscuit Hammer arc that we had in our anime,
Yeah.
in our life
Tell me
anime.
about
I think that was the most apparent part.
Man,
but I think
your
this proves it a
criticisms
little
of
bit
that
better.
series hurt my feelings so bad that I got offended over my actual favorite series because it's written by the same author. Like, I don't want to read Spirit Circle
sorry,
for the panel anymore.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
I'm shook.
I wasn't trying to be mean. It was my opinions, and I just wanted to be realistic. And so it is just funny though, because my initial point was 7, maximum 7.5. He's like, okay, if we take the hype out, if I take Hal out of it off the table, it's a 7 too. And then you guys both give 6.5. I do think it is at this point pretty consistent that you guys typically lean one way and then we typically lean the other. And I think that's really helpful because we're not in an echo chamber. There's never a point where we're all like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's right. Everybody agrees. Like, and I think that's really important, especially for the listeners. So we do give people a much more in-depth and opposing views. That's just my opinion on the matter. I think it is good that we have that.
I think we talked about this once before, and I think I was even like, man, what does the manga look like that Justice and I don't, like, give a similar score?
I am very curious.
We're gonna find it. We're gonna find
It
it.
will
We're
happen.
gonna find it, man. But
It will happen.
But
I want to.
so I wanted,
Okay.
while we're talking about scores, the hype score for this set reading was 7.125. The non-hype score was 6.75
Okay.
Okay.
from all of us.
See,
Assuming
for me-
that Jin gave it a 7.
Okay.
yeah, for me, literally, with the how is worth every one bit of those 1.5 points. Bro, man, y'all got to stick around for this, man. How?
Listen,
oh god,
How is good? I'm not gonna sit here in front like, dude's a good villain. I was rating the reading as a whole though.
Oh no, I know. I was just kind of laughing, like I had to think about that. Like I had to really take him out of the equation and be like, all right, objectively speaking, without my hype and love for how do I feel about this? Okay, yeah, I have to give it a 7. But he really does earn all 1.5 of them points. Just saying it.
Man, you gotta be a good villain to be that good. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, I just put our link tree into the chat. Anybody still in the stream and wanna check us out? I've been Cynic. We got Justice.
Yo, I guess actually we should probably talk about where we're reading to next, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
bad. This is why I don't do outros anymore. I'm
Um,
gonna let. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
let.
you've been doing them.
You did that. You did it that one time. It was pretty good.
All right, well, I'll do it then this time. I haven't been here in a month, so I handle it this time. But yeah,
But yeah. Where are we gonna read to?
so we're gonna stop on chapter 220.
Ooh,
220.
even
Okay.
longer than this one.
It's
Oh,
a little bit
no.
longer. It's
Kind of.
bro,
kind
it's
of.
about to be so worth it.
it's like 2
It's gonna be
chapters
worth it.
longer.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like a
But
little bit.
it should be a much easier read.
Okay.
Because the hype's already here,
Yeah. We're in the
we got
tournament.
through-
That's
yes.
true.
Tournament arc.
This is going to be a big deal for me because I haven't seen past this part. I remember getting to this part basically in the anime, like not verbatim every episode, but catching episodes here and there and like having remembered some of the stuff that's happened. So now I'm really going to be going into this with more fresh eyes. I'm not saying I haven't seen anything from these chapters, but it's a lot more. I don't remember this stuff as well.
Man, I'm going in as blind as I do in life. So
And this is going to be the reading where the manga and the anime start to like really change.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay. So this will be a lot of new stuff for me then, because I have only watched the anime. But all right. So chapter 220. That's what we're reading to. We'll just do the usual. So Jin, any shout outs you want to do?
I haven't started reading anything new. I do want to say, because we did drop the link tree, I do have an official schedule for my streaming on Twitch now. I am playing 7 Days to Die. We're on the 3rd of the Blood Moons. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to typically about 2 or 3 p.m., maybe later. So
Eastern Standard
10 a.m. Monday through, Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to about 2 or 3.
All right. Cynic.
Yeah, I'm here. I
Roll call.
occasionally, I occasionally play Smash with Final Phase Gaming and Up Tilt Gaming. There's some pretty nice streamers, pretty chill, family-friendly community. So, none of you degenerates, all right?
Well, I guess I can't come then. Anyway.
All right, Justice.
I'm not really doing a whole lot. I started a new series called Blue Box. It's Blue Box. It's like it just started a month ago in Shonen Jump. It's about this kid who plays badminton, who's in love with this girl who plays basketball, and they're both just trying to be like the best and go to nationals, but also are like high school kids, so they don't understand their feelings. It's pretty cute.
Love
That
and
sounds
Basketball,
pretty
the anime?
Kind of. No, but he doesn't play basketball. He plays
More like
badminton.
loving badminton.
Well, no, hold on.
Or
I just
badminton
never mind. Never mind. It's
I
fine.
mean,
It's fine.
They might as well
Okay.
be different sport. They might as well be
Okay.
different sports in Love and Basketball. They're not playing together.
Yeah,
I
I
get
just It was the concept. I'm sorry. It's the concept for the black community. I had to bring that in. Same concept or similar concept, I should say.
Man, every weekend on a Saturday, you see that movie. Anyway.
All right, and for me, so as I mentioned before, um, was talking about, we were gonna have a release for my group and everything. I will keep you guys posted on the, I guess, progress of the release, but it has definitely been pushed back. We will be putting some updates out on our media pages. I will get that to Cynic so that he can upload that my group's page to the link to the link tree. And as far as what I've been reading, or that short story I've been telling you guys about, Angel, the author has started updating their work again. They had reached about like 35 chapters and kind of took a short hiatus, but they are back to updating their work. So if you guys were following that and had reached that 35 chapter mark, just letting you know there is more out now, and they will be continuing to do so.
I wanted to. I know Justice and I were
No.
talking about having watched all of what's dubbed with JJK already, which is pretty good. It probably doesn't need to be shouted out, but man, I forgot where I was going with this.
Were you gonna read it?
I believe in you.
I am going to read it.
I don't know if that was what you were gonna say.
It wasn't. Man.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
Watch Gurren Lagann. It's a classic.
Yo, fight the power. All right, so
Man,
I'm trying not to do the closing.
I'm really not. I'm really lost. I'm sorry.
While he's thinking about that, I do want to thank everybody who came from Discord, everybody came from Facebook, everybody who stopped by. We reached, I want to say, an all-time high this time on views, and we do definitely appreciate every single second that you spend time with us. We do it for you guys. I can definitely say that. There's no question. Every time we get a chat and we get to say, sup to somebody, we get to respond to you guys' comments, it really feels good. I mean, I know it fuels me, at least. I want to say it fuels all of us, but it definitely fuels me to see comments in here and get to, respond to you guys too.
Absolutely. I would also second that. Do want to special thank you to Ivy League on Facebook, Villains of the Village, another Facebook group, and whatever group. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the fact that y'all's name is that, but I'm giving you the shout out. I mean, because it's whatever group, I'm just saying. It's just like that doesn't
Well,
feel
I was
good.
confused at first. I was like, did he forget the name of it?
That's exactly why I had to say I hate that the name of it is whatever group. But all right, Cynic, did you get it? Please tell me you got it.
I didn't get it.
Yes,
right.
radio. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so here we
Oh
go, guys.
no! I lied. I remembered it. A
I was
series.
about to hit him with the next time.
A really short series that I started reading and am almost finished with is, oh man, it's super wild. Is that the name of it? The Abandoned Empress. No, that's not right. Gosh, I am really bad at life today.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
Do the impossible, see the invisible.
Row, fight the power?
You already know.
Oh, it is the Abandoned Empress.
All right, cool.
So you could have just trusted yourself. Sometimes you know, but you don't know you know. It's the unknown unknown.
Believes in you, man. Come on, baby.
Yeah, it's
cool up in here.
It's a webcomic. It's pretty cool. It's about this princess who... It's about this empress. There was a prophecy. And this chick was raised her entire life to be an empress because she was from the house in the prophecy that she's supposed to marry the emperor and restore greatness to the kingdom or whatever. And some random chick from another world, got isekai'd there, took her place, and now the empress is just like, what? I spent my whole life being raised to be married to the Emperor. Now what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Huh.
That
And
sounds
it-
actually like a good read.
It starts off as a flash forward with her dying, like being sentenced to death.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
So, and then the
Wow.
story actually starts with her having all of those memories and going back 5 years to relive.
And become the Dragonborn. I get you. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
She was almost decapitated. She becomes the Dragonborn. I see. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah,
I had to.
so time gets turned back for her. She's got like 5 years of planning to marry the Emperor, I guess.
Okay. Alrighty.
Also, I guess we might consider streaming Persona 5 Strikers.
I'm actually
can get there.
legitimately down for that, to be perfect.
Yeah, me too.
So, I actually would like it would be nice if we could start doing streaming, like, group games together. There are 4 of us, and I think we all have PlayStations, so it is possible that we could find something that the 4 of us could do together and stream. So,
But yeah,
Sounds good to me.
we made it.
alrighty. Yes, we have made it. All right, guys. So, again, this is the manga panel. We want to thank you all for coming today. We have your boy Cynic.
Yo,
We got the man Justice.
Yo.
And we have Jin, a.k.a. and never will be, Notch Daddy.
We'll see about that, boy.
oh, I thought he was going to say Fight the Power.
Hold on. Before we let him go. No, before we close out, I want to hear you do it again, bro. Come on. It's the peso. At least once.
Who, me?
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Hold
him.
on.
Cynic, you got it. You good, bro. We already know you good. But Jin, who want to be somebody's daddy, we got to see if he got it real quick.
So what do I get if I do it well? What do I get?
Bruh, I will call you daddy on stream one time if you actually give me a convincing one. Hell, I'll do it before we get off stream.
All right, let's.
Bring out that inner
I've
weed,
never
man.
practiced this before,
Bring
so you're
out that
killing me.
inner
here.
weed. Bring out that inner weed.
Channel your inner Joseph Joestar.
Right, man? Come on.
I just did it, and y'all talked over me.
Oh.
You hate to not hear it.
You hate to hear it.
You got it, Jin. We're gonna be quiet.
Okay. Blitz to Blinzel.